Chapter 1633. After the people from the Sword Spirit sect left, the monarchs and governors of the Li-Fire Palace all stared at Qin Wendian and Beauty Xiao. When did these two get together? Seems like not only did Governor Qin gain fame and fortune, you even managed to hug a beauty. Yin Qiu spoke in a neutral tone. When he saw Beauty Xiao's alluring figure leaning against Qin Wendian, he couldn't help but feel a sense of discomfort. The vixen he had been drooling over for so many years was actually obtained by Qin Wendian? Your colleague is being humiliated, but you still chose to watch from the sidelines. No wonder Governor Xiao doesn't like you. Qin Wendian mocked. Beauty Xiao moved away from Qin Wendian and bowed to Qin Wendian. Many thanks to Governor Qin for helping me out. This is what I should do. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. The monarchs and governors of the Li-Fire Palace froze. Could it be that there was no relationship between them and Qin Wendian was the one who stood up for them? Governor Qin, please enter the courtyard for a chat. Beauty Xiao gently smiled. After that, she coldly glanced at the others. A moment later, all of them had smiles on their faces as they left with some embarrassment. Even Yin Qiu left unhappily. Qin Wendian followed Beauty Xiao into the courtyard. Beauty Xiao directly took out a treasure and sealed the courtyard. Her hands directly hooked around Qin Wendian's neck as her alluring eyes shone. Thank you. Beauty Xiao gently spoke. It's what I should do. Qin Wendian shifted his gaze away. Beauty Xiao smiled charmingly when she saw Qin Wendian's expression. Her sexy robe slid down. Qin Wendian turned his head and glanced at her alluring figure. What are you doing? Want me? Beauty Xiao leaped onto Qin Wendian's body, her legs wrapped around Qin Wendian's waist. Her hands hugged Qin Wendian's head, while Qin Wendian's head sank into her chest, sinking into an endless abyss. You are crazy. Qin Wendian's breathing quickened as he raised his head to look at Beauty Xiao. I know you already have someone in your heart. I won't ask anything of you, but don't reject me. Beauty Xiao lowered her head, her eyes were filled with charm. Qin Wendian was speechless. He then carried her into the room and a great battle ensued. After several battles, Qin Wendian sat in the courtyard and pondered. He sighed in his heart. After all, they had been acquainted once. It was still impossible for him to treat them as strangers. Beauty Xiao's sexy body leaned against Qin Wendian as she sat down. She rested her head on Qin Wendian's shoulder as she asked in a low voice, "Do you think I'm a slut just like what the people of the Xiao clan said?" Without waiting for Qin Wendian's reply, Beauty Xiao continued, "Once, I was also a young miss of the Xiao clan. I was dignified and virtuous, and my upbringing was extremely strict. That was until the Xiao clan wanted to betroth me to an enemy that I hated the most in order to achieve their goals. Speaking of which, it was truly ironic. But in such a major power, this is a common method. Yet, they didn't think that they were filthy. In a fit of anger, I ran away from home and met someone. That person liked my beauty and was full of sweet words. But in truth, he was cowardly and useless. He actually knelt before the Xiao clan and begged for mercy. I didn't feel sad at all when the people of the Xiao clan killed him. How ironic. After the Xiao clan captured me, everyone in the clan mocked me to the extreme. Even the enemy who betrothed me to the Xiao clan insulted me, rejecting the betrothal. In a single night, I became a whore. After that, I left the Xiao clan and my personality also changed, becoming like this. Didn't they say that I was a slut? So I acted for them to see. There were many people who wanted my body, for example, Yin Qiu. But that was all. They only wanted to conquer a sexy beauty. I also seduced many people, and from all of them, I could see their desire for my body. This is what men are like. Hence, none of them managed to obtain me until you appeared. You might not believe this, but in truth, other than that dead ghost, you are my second man." Beauty Xiao giggled. "From your tone, I can tell that you hate men in your heart." Qin Wendian stared at Beauty Xiao as he spoke. "That's right. In this martial world, men have an advantage compared to women in terms of cultivation. In the secular world, men can have many wives and concubines. They covet beauty, and as long as they have authority, there would always be many beauties around them, treating them as nourishment for their cultivation. But when it comes to women, they would be labeled as sluts. Do you think that men are not despicable? Qin Wendian was speechless. The truth was as such. That Xiao Yu was merely a governor, but he already had so many beauties around him. In addition, these beauties were all from aristocratic clans. Regardless of the Li-Fire Empyrean or the lifelong Realm Lord, both of them had no lack of women around them. Also, all of them were women with both beauty and talent. Was it fair? Was it unfair? This was how things were in the secular world. You are different from them. In the past, for those I seduced, none of them could resist my temptation. You are different from them. Beauty Xiao laughed. Are you mocking me? Qin Wendian felt some guilt in his heart. How was he different? You know I'm not. I'm still very confident in my own beauty and charm. Even for those who aren't attracted to beauty, they wouldn't mind me taking the initiative to seduce them. After all men have needs. However, you are completely unmoved by my many attempts to seduce you. Beauty Xiao smiled. Although you were still captured by me in the end, maybe this is the nature of you men. Even with a strong will, you still can't control your desires. Other than you, there's another person who is different. Who? Qin Wendian asked. The character who rose to fame in this grand banquet like you, Di Tian. Beauty Xiao stared at Qin Wendian's handsome face as she smiled. There are many similarities between the two of you. For example? Qin Wendian calmly asked. I can't explain it clearly. I just have a feeling that there's some sort of relationship between the two of you. The feeling you give me is so similar, like the two of you are the same person. However, you are so different. Beauty Xiao laughed, her words causing Qin Wendian's heart to tremble. Beauty Xiao had been in close contact with him and Di Tian before, and she actually sensed something strange. The intuition of a woman was truly terrifying. Alright, it's been so long. It's time for you to leave. If not, others might think that we are doing something in there. Beauty Xiao's soul-stirring eyes stared at Qin Wendian. Her sexy figure stood up and helped Qin Wendian tidy up his clothes. After that, she wore the clothes she wore earlier and spoke, "Let me send you out." Qin Wendian speechlessly stood up and left. Before he left, Beauty Xiao transmitted her voice to him. In the future, she would only seduce him alone. The Empyreans of the 9 world palaces have all returned from the Realm Lord's place. After that, they led their troops back to their respective world palaces through the teleportation arrays. The Li-Fire Empyrean, Qin Wendian, and the others all returned to Li-Fire City. Before they left, Qin Wendian still didn't have a chance to see Yi Qianyu. Also, Yi Qianyu's messaging crystal seemed to have been taken away before she was imprisoned in the Li-Fire jail. Qin Wendian could only send her a one-way message, telling her to wait for him as he needed time. After the experts from the 9 world palaces left, in a vast platform in the lifelong Saint Hall, the lifelong Realm Lord sat there, sipping wine. There were beautiful serving girls beside him. At the front, a group of beautiful fairies came over and bowed. People from the Red Dust Immortal Palace pay our respects to the World Overlord. The lifelong Realm Lord nodded slightly. He inclined his head and glanced at Yi Qianyu. In the future, you can stay in the lifelong Saint Hall as a servant. Yes, Realm Lord. Yi Qianyu bowed. Before this, you danced during the banquet. Dance it for me. The lifelong Realm Lord calmly spoke. Yi Qianyu's expression froze as her countenance turned pale. She spoke in a low voice. Realm Lord. The lifelong Realm Lord frowned. In an instant, a formless pressure gushed forth. He stared at Yi Qianyu. His expression was as calm as ever. There were no fluctuations in his eyes. If you are unwilling, I won't force you. The lifelong Realm Lord calmly spoke. Qianyu. The maidens from the Red Dust Immortal Palace all turned their gazes to Yi Qianyu. Yi Qianyu saw the gazes of everyone as she sighed in her heart. She then cast a deep glance at the transcendent aura of the lifelong Realm Lord. After all, he was a major character. Even with Qin Wendian's dazzling performance, she still couldn't obtain any respect. When she thought of the voice transmission that Qin Wendian sent her through his messaging crystal, Yi Qianyu's expression gradually changed. All of a sudden, a radiant smile appeared in Yi Qianyu's eyes. At this moment, she was filled with boundless charm. Yes, Realm Lord. Yi Qinyu smiled sweetly, causing the eyes of the lifelong realm lord to flash. After that he saw that sexy figure of hers twisting and turning as she danced once more. Every movement of hers was filled with boundless charm. Yi Qinyu's beautiful eyes were still filled with a smile, adding to her charm. However, right now, her heart was as calm as still water, as cold as ice. Regardless of the lifelong realm lord or the Lifefire Empyrean, they would eventually pay the price for seeing through Qin Wenin. It has only been a few tens of years and the Lifefire Empyrean already felt threatened. In the future, the lifelong realm lord would feel the same as well. Another person came over, walking towards the lifelong realm lord and bowing. These are the dossiers that the Lifefire Palace has organized. Enchim, the lifelong realm lord nodded lightly. His gaze shifted away from Yi Qinyu and lowered his head to read through the dossiers. Not long after, a look of bewilderment flashed in his eyes. Princess Kitamura, Qin Wenin, apprentice sister and brother? If this was the case, what relationship did Princess Kitamura have with it? Could she also be Yi's successor? If she was truly Yi's successor, why would she be forced into such a state by the Jialan monarch? Could it be that Yi allowed them to roam the lifelong realm lord's world freely? As he read through the dossiers, the bewilderment in the lifelong realm lord's heart grew even deeper. After he finished reading, Yi Qinyu's dance also halted. He spoke to the person beside him. Send a message to the Lifefire Empyrean, tell him to summon Princess Kitamura to the lifelong Saint Hall. Yes. That person nodded and retreated. The lifelong realm lord inclined his head and glanced at Yi Qinyu and the maidens of the Red Dust Immortal Palace. You guys can remain in the lifelong Saint Hall to atone for your crimes and wait for my summons. Yes. Everyone didn't dare to object. They all bowed and replied. Yi Qinyu continued standing there, watching as the lifelong realm lord stood up and left. Her beautiful eyes inclined and stared into the distance as a smile flickered in her eyes. The person she was waiting for, when would he truly be able to prop up this sky? Chapter 1634. In Lifefire City, after Qin Wenin and the others returned, the news of what happened in the lifelong realm also circulated around. The weaponsmithing Grandmaster Di Tian had outstanding talent and obtained first place in the martial competition with a cultivation base at the mid-stage of the Immortal Emperor realm. The lifelong realm lord personally rewarded him and exempted the Emperor Pavilion from paying any taxes. No one was allowed to affect the Emperor Pavilion's development. When this news circulated out, Lifefire City was shaken. Everyone knew that the rise of the Emperor Pavilion was already unstoppable. There would no longer be any obstructions. Those who once doubted Di Tian's strength only felt ashamed. As for those who supported Di Tian, they all flaunted their brilliance everywhere. Some people even brought up the matter of Lu Feibai from the Lu clan challenging Di Tian, mocking Lu Feibai for not knowing his own limits. An ant-like character actually dared to challenge Grandmaster Di Tian, saying that he wasn't even qualified to carry Grandmaster Di Tian's shoes. All sorts of ugly words caused Lu Feibai to be humiliated everywhere, becoming a villain. At the same time, many major powers went to the Emperor Pavilion to pay a visit, preparing to form a good relationship with Grandmaster Di Tian. However, the Emperor Pavilion sent out news that Grandmaster Di Tian was going to hold a banquet and invited all the major powers. Other than this, the other shocking news was naturally the northern governor Qin Wenin. That white-robed governor who exuded magnificence through the generations had killed over 10 immortal emperors in a single battle. In the lifelong realm, he saved Lifefire City from humiliation and used his strength to challenge the 8 governors of the 9 world palaces. In the final battle, he fought 1 against 2, his magnificence through the generations, causing his name to resound through the world. However, the white-robed governor Qin Wenin who returned to Lifefire City was as low-profile as ever. He stayed in his governor's manor and didn't receive any guests. Di Tian and Qin Wenin became the 2 legendary characters of Lifefire City. Today, in the central city regions, the Emperor Pavilion hosted a banquet to welcome the visiting powers. In fact, many governor manors were invited. For example, the eastern governor Lin Ba, the southern governor Beauty Xiao, the western governor Yin Qiu, and even the grand governor Zhuge Xiong. There were only two governors he didn't invite, the northern governor Qin Wenyan. These two were similarly outstanding characters. Many people guessed that maybe Qin Wenyan didn't need to give face to Di Tian. He wasn't inferior to Di Tian, hence, Di Tian didn't invite him. There were others who said that the two were vaguely competing against each other. They were both exceptional geniuses and couldn't accept the other. Naturally, no one could verify these conjectures. However, there was another matter that was very interesting. The governor of the central governor's manor, Xia Ho, actually didn't receive an invitation. Thinking back to the matters of the past, everyone felt that it was extremely thought-provoking. Back then, the scandal of the central governor's manor caused a commotion. Who didn't know that Governor Xia Ho wanted to deal with the Emperor Pavilion? Now, Grandmaster Di was smacking Governor Xia Ho's face. In the Emperor Pavilion, the banquet has already been prepared and was filled to the brim. Not only for the people from the central governor's manor, many major powers from the various regions of Lifefire City also came to pay their respects. After all, the future of the Emperor Pavilion could already be foreseen. Even the Realm Lord personally spoke. In addition to Di Tian's combat prowess and weaponsmithing prowess, if the Emperor Pavilion didn't develop, it would truly be unreasonable. Today, the people of the Mo clan were all extremely excited. The Mo clan leader, Mo Ting, personally led the members of the Mo clan here to attend the banquet. Mo Ting, his daughter Mo Junyi, and an elder of the Mo clan, Mo Fei, were all seated at the main seats. Everyone knew that Mo Fei and Mo Junyi had always been the left and right arms of Grandmaster Di, and the Mo clan had always been supporting Grandmaster Di. Now that Grandmaster Di finally rose to glory, the Mo clan would naturally bask in his glory as well. Upon seeing so many major powers sitting below, Mo Ting had a radiant smile on his face. He silently sighed in his heart at how wise his decision back then was. As the saying goes, sending charcoal in snowy weather is the most precious. Right now, there were so many people who were willing to add flowers to embroidery. Di Tian sat at the highest seat. After the banquet was prepared, he toasted everyone. Di, thank everyone for coming. I also thank Grand Governor Zhuge and the other governors for coming. Grandmaster Di is too polite. Governor Di, we are all colleagues, there's no need to be so polite. Lin Bao laughed. As for Beauty Xiao, she was very obedient today. She merely sat there with a smile on her face and didn't try to seduce Di Tian. Seems like her promise to Qin Wenyan was true. In the future, she would only seduce Qin Wenyan. Although I'm indebted to the Realm Lord's love and am appointed as the supervisory commander, in truth, it's just an idle position. My interest is still in the Emperor Pavilion, and I hope that everyone would be able to help me out in the future. Di Tian, who was wearing a mask, exuded a mysterious aura. He was clad in black and his entire person radiated sharpness. Naturally, Grandmaster Di's Emperor Pavilion is a transcendent power after all. We still have to depend on the Emperor Pavilion. Someone laughed loudly. That's right, the divine weapons forged by Grandmaster Di are all peerless. In the future, Grandmaster Di mustn't stop. We all want to auction off one of Grandmaster Di's divine weapons. Everyone spoke one after another, and their tones were extremely polite. That's only natural. I will continue to forge divine weapons, it's just that the frequency of my forging won't be as high as before. After all, if my strength doesn't rise, I would eventually encounter a bottleneck in my forging. Di Tian smiled as everyone nodded. Is your strength still lacking? Mo Junyi, who was at the side, rolled her eyes at Di Tian. Di Tian stared at her and laughed. Grandmaster Di is too humble. The eyes of many turned to Mo Junyi. Some of them had a bright light in their eyes as they laughed. Grandmaster Di and Princess Mo are truly a perfect match, a match made in heaven and earth. I can see that Princess Mo's eyes are filled with love when she looks at Grandmaster Di. This seemed like a joke, but there was a deep meaning within. And as expected, after hearing this, the eyes of the Mo clan leader, Mo Ting, gleamed sharply as he smiled at the person who spoke. Mo Junyi blushed as she spoke. You guys better not use me as a joke. That's what I feel. That person continued speaking in a half-joking manner. How could Di Tian not understand the thoughts of these people? If there really was something going on between him and Mo Junyi, this person's words would undoubtedly cause the Mo clan to have a good impression of him. However, there were also some people who were unhappy. These people were none other than the Jialan clan. Today, the Jialan clan also came to attend the banquet and Jialan Chuyue was present as well. Yeah, they are truly a good match. A gentle voice rang out. The gazes of everyone turned over only to see Jialan Chuyue's breathtakingly beautiful countenance. They only saw Jialan Chuyue smiling at Di Tian, her beautiful eyes flashing with a hint of coquettishness. This scene caused everyone to be stunned. The person who spoke earlier laughed. I spoke too much, I'm just joking, I hope you don't take it to heart. As the sound of his voice faded, the people from the Mo clan coldly stared at him. After that person broke out in cold sweat and even had the heart to die. His bootlicking was at the wrong place. What a melodramatic plot. Who would have thought that the young miss of the Jialan clan would actually be secretly in love with Grandmaster D? If he knew about this earlier, he wouldn't have dared to fart here even if he was given a few more guts. Many people felt their hearts trembling. Right now, this Grandmaster D was truly a hot commodity, having the favor of so many peak-level beauties. Right now, the young miss of the Jialan clan, the peak-level beauty of Lifefire City, Jialan Chuyue, was currently staring at the young miss of the Mo clan, Mo Junyi. Their gazes collided, causing sparks to fly. Such good fortune. Di Tian sweated. He coughed and spoke. Right now, the Emperor Pavilion is still in its development phase. I have not considered the matters of love yet. As the sound of his voice faded, two gazes filled with hidden bitterness turned to him. Di Tian felt his head swelling, silently musing at the fact that beauties nowadays were all so unreserved. In truth, one couldn't blame Jialan Chuyue and Mo Junyi for not being reserved. They wanted to be reserved, but they met their match. When women were together with other women, their jealousy would naturally be extremely strong. No matter what, they mustn't show any weakness. Hence, they temporarily forgot about being reserved. Seems like Grandmaster D will have the fortune of having multiple lovers. Many people stared at Di Tian with a meaningful look in their eyes. Outstanding people, as expected, all beauties would take the initiative. The disparity between people was truly too great. Di Tian acted as though he didn't see the gazes of the two beauties. He continued, I'm sure everyone knows a little about the history of the Emperor Pavilion's development. Back then, the Emperor Pavilion almost suffered a calamity and ceased to exist. Even now, I still feel a lingering fear. The eyes of everyone flashed when they heard Di Tian's words. All of them retracted their joking expressions and became serious. Grandmaster D bringing up this matter at this moment? What did he mean by that? Back then, it was precisely at this location where my Emperor Pavilion was in its development phase, exploring step by step. However, all of a sudden, we encountered a mysterious powers provocation. The experts who were auctioning treasures from my Emperor Pavilion were actually robbed, and the people who came to trade with my Emperor Pavilion also encountered all sorts of troubles. At that time, the people who came to trade with my Emperor Pavilion were all filled with fear and anxiety, causing the morale of the Emperor Pavilion to plummet. At that time, my Emperor Pavilion paid a tribute to a first-tier power, and even the governor's manor couldn't find out anything. Di Tian's tone turned solemn. The eyes of the governors gleamed with sharpness. What was Di Tian trying to do by bringing up the past? After that, although this matter was resolved, it's still extremely strange. Back then, who were the powers that acted against my Emperor Pavilion in the dark? Di Tian's tone gradually turned sharp as sharpness flickered in his eyes. Those powers used such sinister methods to deal with my Emperor Pavilion, they would naturally act against others as well. This isn't beneficial to the development of the various powers in Lifefire City. Right now, I'm highly regarded by the Realm Lord and was given the position of the Supervisory Commander. I'm prepared to investigate this matter once more. What does everyone think? The hearts of everyone trembled. Di Tian had mentioned twice that he was highly regarded by the Realm Lord and was given the position of Supervisory Commander. Clearly, he was using this opportunity to tell everyone that he was someone from the Realm Lord's faction. Right now, Grandmaster D, who had confidence, was finally going to settle the debt. The moment he returned, he was already planning to do so. Truly, revenge can't be delayed overnight. The eyes of Zhuge Xiong and the other governors flashed. They all understood in their hearts that this matter also implicated Governor Xiahou. Did Qin Wenyan mean that Di Tian was preparing to settle this debt together? Before this, the Li-Fire Empyrean had hoped that they could let go of their grudges. But now, it seemed like Di Tian wanted to challenge his authority. Chapter 1635. Zhuge Xiong and the others understood that Xiahou was the mastermind behind this. The others naturally knew this as well. In addition, other than Governor Xiahou, there might be a few other major powers involved in this matter. Hence, many people narrowed their eyes. For a period of time, the lively banquet turned silent. If they spoke now, it would be easy for them to offend others. Although they didn't know who exactly they would offend, they knew that it was definitely not an ordinary character. When Di Tian saw this scene, he played around with the wine cup in his hand as he smiled. It's fine if everyone doesn't want to express their opinions. We can't leave the debt of the past unresolved. The Emperor Pavilion will definitely investigate this matter thoroughly. It's just that right now, our Emperor Pavilion is still developing and our strength is still a little weak. Hence, we might need to borrow some strength. Is there anyone who is willing to support my Emperor Pavilion? They want to form an alliance. Many people sighed in their hearts. To many people, this was an opportunity. As long as they nodded, although they might offend others, they would gain the friendship of the Emperor Pavilion. Now, it all depended on how they would choose. My MO clan will naturally do our best to support the Emperor Pavilion. Back then, our MO clan was also involved in this matter and we are extremely angry. Now that Grandmaster D wants to investigate, I, MO Ting, will naturally support you. The clan leader of the MO clan, MO Ting, directly expressed his stance. If Grandmaster D has any needs, my Jialan clan is also willing to provide some help. Jialan Chuyue's father, Jialan Cheng, spoke. Their Jialan clan definitely had to maintain a good relationship with Di Tian. Di Tian might be a crucial character for their Jialan clan to deal with the Li-Fire Empyrean. I'm also willing to do my best to help. Another person spoke. This person was from a major power. After that, more and more people expressed their stance. Even for those spectators, when they saw so many major powers expressing their stance, they couldn't help but to speak as well. Almost half of the people here directly expressed their willingness to support Di Tian. Staring at everyone, a smile appeared in Di Tian's eyes. After that, he turned to Zhuge Xiong and the other governors as he spoke. Grand Governor Zhuge, I'm sure you also know that this matter implicates our governor's manor. Hence, we might need your help. I wonder what the governors think? Zhuge Xiong stared at Di Tian's dark eyes as his heart trembled. Honestly speaking, although he was a grand governor, Di Tian didn't need to care about him at all. Di Tian had already expressed his stance. He would definitely investigate this matter no matter what. Right now, he was asking for their opinions because he wanted them to choose a side. Would they stand on his side, or would they stand with Xiahou? If it was just Di Tian and Xiahou, it would still be easy to choose. But the most crucial thing was that the Li-Fire Empyrean was here as well. Although the Li-Fire Empyrean didn't say it clearly, he already made Xiahou apologize in the Lifelong Saint Hall. Evidently, he hoped that the matter back then would be forgotten. Right now, Di Tian seemed to be unwilling and wanted to investigate this matter no matter what. Governor Di, I agree with this matter. It's just that Xiahou is after all the governor of Li-Fire City. I wonder what the Li-Fire Empyrean's attitude would be. If you don't target Xiahou, I can directly tell you. Di Tian transmitted his voice to Di Tian, his words causing sharpness to flash through Di Tian's eyes. This old fox. Di Tian ignored Zhuge Xiong's voice transmission and directly spoke. Grand Governor, I'm under the orders of the lifelong Realm Lord to be the supervisory commander. Even if this matter didn't happen to my Emperor Pavilion, I will definitely investigate this matter clearly. Our Li-Fire City cannot allow such vermin to exist. Since I know about this matter, If I don't investigate it, how can I face the realm lord's love for me? Zhuge Xiong cursed in his heart. This bastard, he directly bypassed the Li-Fire Empyrean and directly talked about the realm lord. He truly knew how to use his connections to intimidate others. In addition, this Di Tian truly wasn't afraid of the Li-Fire Empyrean. Before he headed to the lifelong realm, his relationship with the Jialan clan was already very close. Clearly, he was roped in by the Jialan clan. Right now, the people of the Jialan clan were also present at this banquet. How would this Di Tian care about the Li-Fire Empyrean's opinion? The realm lord has personally spoken. As long as Di Tian doesn't do anything disgraceful, he can do whatever he wants in Li-Fire City. No one would dare to touch him, including the Li-Fire Empyrean. Right now, he said that he wanted to investigate Xia Ho and even brought out the lifelong realm lord's name. Even the Li-Fire Empyrean couldn't say anything. Could it be that he would really offend Di Tian to death and drive him to the Jialan clan? Zhuge Xiong guessed that the Li-Fire Empyrean would most probably allow Di Tian and Xia Ho to fight. He wouldn't interfere. What do you guys think? Zhuge Xiong glanced at Lin Ba, Beauty Xiao and Yin Qiu. This caused Lin Ba and Yin Qiu to silently curse in their hearts. I feel that we should support Grandmaster Di. Since Grandmaster Di is the supervisory commander, he does have the authority to investigate this matter. Also, there's nothing in the governor's manner of our Li-Fire City that can't be revealed. Lin Ba spoke with a strong sense of righteousness, causing Zhuge Xiong to feel somewhat taken aback. Lin Ba actually directly supported Di Tian. However, he understood after thinking about it. Among the 5 governors of Li-Fire City, Qin Wenyan was a special existence. He was already very unhappy with Xia Ho. Other than Qin Wenyan, Xia Ho was the strongest and Lin Ba was second. If Xia Ho fell, Lin Ba's status would naturally be even higher. Also, if he could obtain Di Tian's friendship, why not? As for Xia Ho, both Di Tian and Qin Wenyan wanted to deal with him at the same time. Xia Ho wouldn't be able to continue jumping around for long. I also support Grandmaster Di. Beauty Xiao giggled, expressing her support with no hesitation. Her charming eyes stared at Di Tian. Zhuge Xiong thought that she wanted to seduce Di Tian and didn't feel strange. The matters of the past have already been investigated. Governor Di, there's no need to investigate anymore. Yin Qiu calmly spoke. His voice could be considered friendly. Di Tian's gaze landed on Yin Qiu as he spoke. Since Governor Yin Qiu thinks this way, please do as you please. Since we walk different paths, we can't make plans together. Yin Qiu's expression instantly froze. He didn't expect Di Tian to be so domineering. His tone was already extremely calm, but just because he didn't agree with Di Tian's opinion, Di Tian directly chased him away? Zhuge Xiong and the others here were all shocked. What a domineering Grandmaster Di. Lin Ba and Beauty Xiao smiled at Yin Qiu. Traces of sympathy could be seen in their eyes. This fellow didn't seem to be able to see the situation clearly. Governor Di, Yin Qiu faintly felt regret. Governor Yin Qiu, please. Di Tian waved his hands, showing no mercy at all. Yin Qiu's lips twitched. After that, he stood up and left with a heavy expression on his face. Being chased away like this, one could very well imagine how terrible his mood was right now. Although Governor Qin didn't come, I believe that he would definitely agree with my opinion. Di Tian slowly spoke. Zhuge Xiong's eyes flashed. If Di Tian wanted to deal with Xia Ho, Qin Wenyan would naturally agree. Since this is the case, if Governor Di has any needs, I will do my best to cooperate. Zhuge Xiong slowly spoke. In that case, I will have to thank Governor Zhuge then. Di Tian smiled and nodded. After that, he raised his cup and spoke to everyone. Since everyone is willing to do their best to help me, let me toast to all of you. The eyes of the experts flashed, each of them had their own worries in their hearts. Next, there would surely be a storm in the central city regions of Li-Fire City. Not long after the banquet ended, the news of what happened at the Emperor Pavilion was already circulated to the central governor's manor. A thunderous boom rang out in the Great Hall. The table beside Xia Ho directly shattered into pieces. The veins on his face bulged as his killing intent gushed forth. What a good Di Tian! Zhuge Xiong, Lin Ba, Beauty Xiao. Xia Ho's body trembled. One could very well imagine the anger he was feeling right now. Other than anger, there was also a hint of trepidation. Di Tian held a banquet in front of everyone and even asked the governors to express their stance. This meant that Di Tian was determined to act against him. Given Di Tian's current strength, he, Xia Ho, might really die in Di Tian's hands. Lord Governor, what should we do? A vice-governor asked. Back then, this vice-governor had gone to the Emperor Pavilion several times. At that time, he felt that Di Tian was courting death by not giving face to Xia Ho. But now, they actually started to fear Di Tian. This was truly ironic. We didn't do anything. So what if Di Tian investigates? Xia Ho coldly glanced at him. His cold eyes flickered with a hint of threat. Clearly, he wanted the vice-governor to pay attention to his words in the future and not leak any information. Your subordinate knows his mistake. That vice-governor bowed. Go down and warn your subordinates not to speak recklessly. I will report this to the Li-Fire Empyrean. This Di Tian is truly lawless. Xia Ho calmly spoke. After that vice-governor bade farewell and left, preparing to issue a gag order to those who knew the truth. Not only for Xia Ho's governor's manor, the Yan clan, Han clan and Wei clan were also holding an emergency meeting. The current Di Tian was no longer the Emperor Pavilion Lord Di Tian of the past. The him now was extremely domineering and truly had the power to destroy them. If he really wanted to investigate, no one knew what would happen if they were implicated. After several days, many people came to the central governor's manor. These people were none other than Di Tian and the people from the Emperor Pavilion. Other than them, there were also people from Zhuge Xiong's faction. Governor Di, what do you mean by this? The moment Di Tian arrived, Xia Ho personally walked out, blocking Di Tian outside. His expression was heavy. He went to the Li-Fire Empyrean to look for him, but he was rejected. The Violet Moon Immortal transmitted a message to him, telling him that he would be responsible for what he did. This meant that the Li-Fire Empyrean wasn't planning to interfere and he could only depend on himself to deal with Di Tian. Governor Xia Ho, I still have some doubts regarding what happened to my Emperor Pavilion in the past. I need to look for people from the governor's manor to understand the situation. Di Tian spoke. Fine, I can call them over. If Governor Di wants to understand the situation, I can get them to cooperate. Xia Ho stared at Di Tian. I want to bring them to the Emperor Pavilion. I've already reported this to the Empyrean. There's no need for me to establish a new supervisory governor's manor. It's set to be in the Emperor Pavilion. Di Tian spoke. This won't do. They all have important matters to attend to and don't have so much time. Xia Ho rejected. This is the supervisory commander's command token. Di Tian took out a command token. There were large golden words engraved on it, similar to the governor's command token. However, the word supervisory was engraved on it. If there's anyone who dares to obstruct me from carrying out my supervisory duties, that would be considered a form of disrespect to the lifelong Saint Hall. I can act first and report later. Di Tian calmly spoke. For a moment, a terrifying might bore down on him. His immortal sense enveloped the governor's manner as he spoke. Di Tian, the supervisory commander, summon all the vice-governors and attendants of the northern city regions. For those who hear this, come over immediately. If not, you will be treated as a crime of disrespect and be killed without mercy. His voice was like thunder, reverberating through the air, causing the hearts of countless people to tremble. Chapter 1636. Xia Ho's expression turned heavy as the pressure he exuded was terrifying. The many vice-governors and attendants also understood that Di Tian was borrowing the Realm Lord's power. Disobey? Kill without mercy? Who gave him such great authority? He was using his position as the supervisory commander to seek revenge. However, he had a good reason to do so. If someone disobeyed, what if Di Tian really killed them? Given Di Tian's combat prowess as the top ranker in the martial competition, most probably Governor Xia Ho wouldn't be able to stop him. Governor Di, what do you treat my governor's manor as? Xiaoho's face turned ashen. If it wasn't for the fact that he knew he wouldn't be able to win against Di Tian, he would have directly started a fight. This is my duty. If this matter is investigated thoroughly, I will naturally allow them to return. I won't make things difficult for them. Di Tian spoke. Xiaoho's expression turned heavy. If these people were brought back to the Emperor Pavilion, there would definitely be trouble. Now that they were in Di Tian's territory, wouldn't he be the one who had the final say? Who knows what methods you will use? Xiaoho coldly spoke. This time around, I've invited the Grand Governor's personal guard to testify. There are also people from the various governor manors. They will bear witness to the entire process. Guard Yun, tell Governor Xiaoho about this. Di Tian spoke. An immortal emperor walked out from the side. Xiaoho glanced at him with an unsightly expression. He naturally knew who the head guard of the Grand Governor Zhuge Xiong was. Governor Xiaoho, the Grand Governor believes that Governor Di will investigate this matter impartially. He hopes that Governor Xiaoho will cooperate. Guardian spoke. Xiaoho's hands trembled. He was angered to the extreme. Right now, did the Grand Governor Zhuge Xiong already publicly stand on Di Tian's side? Governor Xiaoho, I've already given you face. If you continue to obstruct me from doing things, don't blame me for being impolite. Di Tian directly threatened. I'll only give the vice governors and attendants of the governor's manor the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. If they don't come, I'll go in myself. The central governor's manor was completely shaken. Di Tian was too overbearing, the Li-Fire Empyrean didn't care, and even the Grand Governor, Zhuge Xiong, stood on Di Tian's side. As for the other governors, other than Yin Qiu, who was expelled by Di Tian because he spoke out for Governor Xiaoho, the other governors all supported Di Tian. The situation was completely one-sided. More and more people came here. They were all vice governors and attendants of the governor's manor. Di Tian was too domineering. They didn't dare to not come. If not, even their Lord Governor Xiaoho might not be able to protect them. Seeing everyone appear, Xiaoho clenched his fists tightly, feeling extremely aggrieved. Not long after, the people who should have come were all here. Di Tian glanced at them and spoke. Many thanks for everyone's cooperation. Since all of you are vice governors and attendants, I will naturally treat you politely. Follow me to the Emperor Pavilion. Qin Wendian said and turned around. He was indeed very polite. Everyone glanced at Xiaoho. Xiaoho glanced at a few of them with a hint of warning in his eyes. Governor Xiaoho, back then when you came to my Emperor Pavilion, were you like me today? A voice rang out in Xiaoho's mind. It was Di Tian's voice transmission. Cracking sounds rang out. Xiaoho clenched his fists even tighter. Clearly, Di Tian came here for revenge. Di Tian brought Qin Wendian away. The news of this rapidly circulated around the central city regions. This Grandmaster Di Tian was truly tyrannical, incomparably domineering, directly heading to the central governor's manor to capture Qin Wendian. In the Emperor Pavilion, the vice governors and attendants of the central governor's manor were all brought here. The experts in the surroundings were as common as the clouds, causing them to feel immense pressure. Di Tian glanced at everyone as he spoke. I'm sure everyone has heard of the incident that happened in the Emperor Pavilion back then. Let me ask all of you, does anyone know who the mastermind is? Everyone stared at Di Tian. This fellow truly wasn't reserved at all. He was actually so direct with his questions, not beating around the bush at all, getting straight to the point. Naturally, no one replied. How could they say this out loud? It's fine if you guys don't want to speak. But if in the future, I find out who the mastermind is and there's someone who doesn't report. Di Tian smiled at everyone. Cripple that person's cultivation base. Many people felt their hearts trembling, but they still maintained their calm on the surface. If they didn't say anything, they didn't believe that Di Tian would know. I'll give you all the time it takes for an incense stick to burn to consider. For those who know, just take a step forward. Di Tian laughed. After that, he stood up from his seat and paced back and forth as though nothing had happened. He glanced at Mo Junyi, who was at the side, and asked, Has the person from the northern governor's manor not been invited over yet? Governor Qin has agreed, he's already here. Mo Junyi replied. Then quickly invite him over. Di Tian spoke. Mo Junyi walked out and an instant later, she returned. Not only that, beside her, there was a terrifying lion that exuded an imposingness. The eyes of this lion gleamed with a jade-green light. That jade-green eyes of his swept over everyone, causing the hearts of everyone to tremble. Even their souls were trembling, as though they were no longer under their control. Senior Evil Emperor, thank you for your hard work. Di Tian politely spoke. This lion was none other than the Evil Emperor. He casually nodded his head as a reply. His jade-green eyes were still staring at everyone, causing the hairs of those people to stand on end. This bastard! Some people were already cursing Di Tian in their hearts. Evil Emperor, Qin Wenyan truly wants to deal with Governor Xiahou and asked the Evil Emperor for help. If we don't say anything, would Di Tian really use the Evil Emperor to control us and force us to speak? Some people felt conflicted in their hearts. Their expressions were no longer as calm as before. Given the domineering aura Di Tian displayed, there was truly such a possibility. Guard Yun, you are a subordinate of the Grand Governor. Be a witness for me. I guarantee that I won't ask too much about their private matters and will only investigate this matter. Di Tian spoke to Guard Yun. Guard Yun silently cursed at Di Tian for being shameless. Was he trying to scare Xiahou's subordinates to death? And as expected, there were quite a few people who were already trembling unstably. If Di Tian really used the Evil Emperor to interrogate them, Di Tian would cripple them and everything would be over. Di Tian didn't seem to be in a hurry. After a few steps, he inclined his head and stared at everyone. He smiled. There's still the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. As long as you take the initiative to confess, I guarantee that I won't pursue this matter any further. If not, I'll do as I said before. Everyone, please consider this carefully. After speaking, he no longer spoke. He paced back and forth in front of everyone. His footsteps were crisp and clear. The atmosphere was so silent that even a pin drop could be heard. The jade-green eyes of the Evil Emperor grew increasingly demonic and terrifying. Finally, an attendant took a step forward. The time it takes for an incense stick to burn was almost up. He didn't dare to take the risk. With someone taking the lead, another attendant stepped out. Very swiftly, 3 people walked out consecutively. Di Tian coldly laughed when he saw this scene. How brazen was Xiahou back then? He didn't hide anything at all, allowing more than 3 attendants to know about this matter. From this, one could very well imagine how brazen Xiahou was. He didn't care about this at all. Finally, 2 vice-governors and 4 attendants walked out. When Di Tian saw this scene, he laughed and spoke to them. Explain yourself in front of Guard Yun. Who is the mastermind behind the chaos in my Emperor Pavilion? Both of you, transmit a voice transmission to me and Guard Yun. You guys are not allowed to say anything. If you guys don't agree with each other, we will have to investigate further. What a sinister fellow. Everyone stared at Di Tian. The people in the surroundings didn't expect Grandmaster Di Tian to have such methods. As expected, he brought the mastermind to the Emperor Pavilion. Xiahou was most probably finished now. Grandmaster Di Tian had already made his preparations. From the start to the end, Xiahou had no way to resist at all. Numerous voices rang out in the ears of Di Tian and Guard Yun. After that, Di Tian and Guard Yun communicated via voice transmission. After that, Di Tian's eyes flashed with a cold smile as he continued to ask, in that case, Governor Xiahou already knows everything. Although he didn't take the initiative to act, in truth, both parties have already colluded. Am I right? The attendants exchanged glances as they continued to transmit their voices. Di Tian's eyes were cold. Finally, he turned to the Evil Emperor and spoke, Senior Evil Emperor, can I trouble you to control this attendant and ask him if his words earlier are true? Did they send voice transmissions to each other to lie to me and Guard Yun? The Evil Emperor's jade-green eyes turned to the weakest attendant, a peak-stage immortal king. Very swiftly, he controlled that attendant and questioned him. That attendant was very honest. Everything he said was the truth. Since this is the case, the evidence is clear. Let me report what everyone told me and Guard Yun earlier. Back then, the Yen clan, Han clan and Wei clan of the central city regions paid a visit to Governor Xiahou and joined forces to deal with my emperor pavilion. The city lord manor pretended to investigate, but in truth, they didn't do anything. In fact, they even secretly sent news to the 3 aristocratic clans. Am I right? If there's a problem with what I said, please correct me. Di Tian slowly spoke. Nobody refuted him. The others all felt shock in their hearts as a voice rang out in their hearts. Governor Xiahou was finished. This Di Tian was determined to take revenge on him. And now the evidence was clear. There are people from the various governors' manors here, including the Grand Governor himself. Since the truth is clear, what do you all think? Di Tian stared at everyone as he spoke. We have to report this matter to the Lord Governor. Guard Yun and the others spoke. Di Tian nodded, allowing them to make the report. A moment later, Guard Yun replied, the Grand Governor said that he will immediately report this matter to the Empyrean. As for the 3 aristocratic clans, the Grand Governor said that from now on, they are to be forbidden from expanding their power in Lifefire City forever, and all the businesses they control will be shut down. I have no objections to the Grand Governor's suggestion. As for the matter regarding Governor Xiahou, I will wait for the Empyrean's orders and see how the Empyrean would reply to the Grand Governor. As for the other 3 aristocratic clans, they have already violated the laws of the governor's manor. Not only will their businesses be shut down, they will also be confiscated. Di Tian laughed, but his eyes gleamed with coldness. Everyone here felt their hearts trembling when they heard this. They all understood that Governor Xiahou was finished. The 3 aristocratic clans were in dire straits as well. Back then, the 3 aristocratic clans offended Grandmaster Di and wanted to annihilate the Emperor Pavilion. Given Grandmaster Di's personality, he most probably wouldn't show mercy. Chapter 1637. In the central governor's manor, Xiahou paced about in the Great Hall, feeling extremely uneasy. There was no news of those who were brought away. Right now, he was like a deaf person. He had no idea what happened to the Emperor Pavilion. Di Tian. Xiahou's eyes flashed with killing intent. Back then, when had he ever cared about a weaponsmith grandmaster? The central city regions were his territory, his words were the law, he could do whatever he wanted. He didn't expect that he would actually suffer the revenge of Di Tian today. At this moment, his eyes flashed with sharpness. He turned his gaze over and stared at the air in the distance. From there, a group of figures could be seen flying over. It was none other than Di Tian and his group. Other than Di Tian, there was also Grand Governor Zhuge Xiong, Protector Qin of the Lifefire Palace, as well as the vice-governors and attendants of the central governor's manor. At this moment, Xiahou suddenly had a bad premonition. His heart turned cold. He only saw a group of figures descending from the air, but they didn't descend, staring down at him in a condescending manner. Xiahou, as the central governor, you actually dared to act so brazenly, colluding with the major powers of Lifefire City to act against the Emperor Pavilion under your jurisdiction. Do you know your crimes? Zhuge Xiong coldly asked. I don't know what Grand Governor is talking about. Xiahou denied. Impudent. Zhuge Xiong angrily berated. Right now, the evidence is clear and the people from the various governors' manors are here as witnesses. Your subordinates have also personally admitted to it. Are you still not going to admit your crimes? Xiahou's expression was extremely ugly to behold. His cold gaze swept over to the people behind Di Tian. His subordinates all lowered their heads, not daring to meet Xiahou's eyes. They had no other choice. Under such a situation, who would dare to not speak the truth? The evil emperor was already invited here. Even if they didn't want to speak the truth, they had to. If they took the initiative to say that they were innocent, things would be even worse if they were questioned. They had no choice. Do you know your crimes? Zhuge Xiong coldly asked. This subordinate will naturally go and apologize to the Lifefire Palace Lord. Xiahou knew that he had no way to refute this. He clasped his hands in the direction of the Lifefire Palace. The Lifefire Palace Lord has already given the order to remove you from your position. From now onwards, you will never be employed again. Vice-Governor Ji will temporarily take over your position, temporarily managing the affairs of the central governor's manor. Xia Ho, follow me to the Li-Fire Palace to apologize to the Li-Fire Palace Lord and await your punishment. Protector Chen spoke. Xia Ho's countenance was as pale as paper. From now on he would never be hired again. This was cutting off his path. Governor Di Tian, when we return to the Li-Fire Palace, the Empyrean will naturally punish you heavily. What do you think? Protector Chen glanced at Di Tian as he asked. No matter what decision Palace Lord makes, Di Tian will naturally respect it. Let's just do as Palace Lord says. Di Tian smiled. Although he knew that nothing would happen to Xia Ho after he went to the Li-Fire Empyrean, at the very least, the Li-Fire Empyrean still put on an act for him to see. After crippling Xia Ho's future, it wouldn't be good for him to be overbearing and go against the Li-Fire Empyrean. Yes. Protector Chen nodded and said, Xia Ho, come with us. Xia Ho didn't say anything. He followed Protector Chen and prepared to leave. His extremely cold gaze swept towards Di Tian, and his killing intent was not concealed at all. Governor Ji, you will temporarily act as the governor and do your best to cooperate with Governor Di. Zhuge Xiong spoke to his former vice-governor, Ji Luo. Ji Luo nodded, yes, Grand Governor. Zhuge Xiong also brought his men and followed after Protector Chen. Di Tian glanced at Ji Yao. Governor Ji, immediately gather everyone in the governor's manor. Your subordinate obeys. Ji Yao clasped his hands. Governor Ji, now you are already the acting governor. You can just refer to me as Governor Di. Di Tian laughed. Ji Yao started and nodded his head, but he was cursing in his heart. This fellow managed to crush Xia Ho so easily, how would he dare to be careless? Everyone from the central governor's manor, gather immediately. Ji Yao roared. In an instant, the various vice-governors and attendants all moved, gathering their subordinates and reorganizing their troops. None of them dared to be slow. Right now, no one dared to offend Di Tian. Di Tian stared at the experts below. The army of the central governor's manor was much stronger compared to the northern governor's manor. Governor Ji, instruct the 3 vice-governors to each lead an army and head towards the 3 aristocrat clans, the Yen clan, Han clan and Wei clan. Surround the 3 aristocrat clans and no one is allowed to enter or leave. Cooperate with the governor's manor and if anyone dares to disobey, kill them without mercy. Di Tian calmly spoke. Although the strength of the 3 aristocrat clans was very strong, if the governor's manor directly surrounded them, they wouldn't dare to do anything. In truth, Qin Wendian wanted nothing more than for them to do something. If that's the case, he would have a chance to capture all of them in one fell swoop. Back then, the 3 aristocrat clans didn't intend to spare his emperor pavilion. Di Tian naturally wouldn't be merciful now. Ji Yao instructed the 3 vice-governors to move out, heading towards the location where the 3 aristocrat clans were located. At the same time, Di Tian instructed the other governors to head to the businesses of the 3 aristocrat clans to seize them. Di Tian also headed there personally, just like how Qin Wendian dealt with the ancient river auction house back then. The central city regions of Li-Fire City were shaken. Back then when the northern governor Qin Wendian dealt with the ancient river auction house, he had already caused a huge commotion. Let alone now, this matter happened in the central city regions and directly implicated the 3 aristocrat clans as well as Xia Ho. In Li-Fire City, all the powerful aristocrat clans would have their own businesses, or how would they survive? How would they be able to sustain the expenditure of their clans? Every member of a clan needed to accumulate cultivation resources. Only then would the clan be able to grow stronger. The Yen clan was a formation-based aristocrat clan. The Han and Wei clans were a trading aristocrat clan. Their businesses were extremely large and the auction houses and transaction pavilions they controlled were the top powers in the central city regions. When the governor's manor's troops arrived, the commotion was earth-shattering. The people from the governor's manor even encountered strong resistance. However, not only did Di Tian lead his troops, he even got the support of the major powers who supported him back then during the banquet, directly suppressing them with iron blood, tying all the major powers together with his emperor pavilion. Although Di Tian obtained first place in the martial competition in Lifelong City, in truth, the strength of his Emperor Pavilion wasn't as strong as before. After all, Di Tian had just returned. If he relied on the strength of his Emperor Pavilion to deal with the 3 aristocrat clans, it would undoubtedly be akin to smashing a rock with an egg. However, Di Tian had been borrowing the strength of the 3 aristocrat clans. He was incomparably domineering, instantly causing everyone to feel that the Emperor Pavilion was a transcendent power in Liefire City, simply unexcelled in the world. All resistance was completely suppressed. In addition, there were also many powers that wanted to kick them when they were down, including the enemies of the 3 aristocrat clans. In just a single day, the 3 aristocrat clans' businesses were instantly destroyed. All their businesses and resources that could be seized were all seized. And at this moment, within the 3 aristocrat clans, the clan leaders were all in so much pain that they wished they were dead. This time around, they had truly offended a baleful god. Initially, even if they knew that they used dishonorable methods to deal with the Emperor Pavilion, it wouldn't be a big deal. After all, in Liefire City, such things were common. But now, they kicked the iron plate that was Di Tian, and he was determined to take revenge on them. Hence, the 3 aristocrat clans encountered a calamity. The Yen clan was surrounded so tightly that not even a drop of water could seep through. In the air, a majestic army descended from the sky. The person in the lead had a mask on and was clad in black robes. His entire person exuded a sense of mystery and sharpness. Upon staring at this figure, many people of the Yen clan thought back to the first time he stepped into the Yen clan. At that time, Di Tian was merely a junior who came to challenge the authority of the Yen clan. At that time, no one paid him any attention. It was only after Di Tian defeated the Yen clan that they started to view him with more importance. But even so, no one would have thought that there would be a day like this. He directly led his men to seize all the businesses of the Yen clan, and now, he was in a lofty position. Grandmaster Yen Feng, how have you been? Di Tian stared at an old acquaintance, Yen Feng. Yen Feng's eyes gleamed with sharpness as he stared at Di Tian. Di Tian, you are using your position as the governor to seek revenge. You will definitely suffer retribution in the future. Is that so? Di Tian mocked. You guys colluded with the original governor, Xia Ho, to deal with my Emperor Pavilion, wanting to kill me. Are you using your position to seek revenge? Grandmaster Yen Feng, I won't waste words with you. Back then when I first stepped into the Yen clan, it was extremely difficult for me to even enter the main gate. I was intercepted and had to fight a battle before I could enter. Luckily now, I don't need to go through so much trouble. Di Tian mocked. From today onwards, all the businesses of the Yen clan have been confiscated. The Yen clan is not allowed to interfere in this anymore. Other than this, the Yen clan will never be allowed to operate any businesses within the Liefire Palace's territory again. If not, the next time we do so, it would be as simple as confiscation. You are going too far. Yen Feng raged. The people of the Yen clan all glared at Di Tian. When you guys bully me, when have you ever been merciful? Di Tian coldly spoke. In the future, all of you better behave yourselves. If you break the rules of the Liefire Palace again, you will definitely be heavily punished. Farewell. Let's go. Di Tian waved his hands as the troops retreated, bringing everyone away. The people of the Yen clan all had ashen expressions. In this case, the Yen clan would no longer have a foothold in the Liefire Palace. They could only move away. A powerful aristocrat clan without any businesses, they couldn't do any transactions. It was equivalent to them being ordinary unaffiliated cultivators. What could they use to maintain the expenses of the aristocrat clan? Could it be that they had to become bandits? Di Tian was clearly trying to force them to leave. In the central city regions of Liefire City, Governor Xia Ho was stripped of his position, never to be hired again. All the businesses of the 3 aristocrat clans were confiscated, and after several days, they decided to move away from Liefire City. This caused a huge commotion, and it was all because of a single person. Grandmaster Di of the Emperor Pavilion. For a period of time, Di Tian's fame was like the sun in the sky. In the entire Li-Fire city, no one dared to antagonize him anymore. In addition, he even issued a warning to his enemies. Regardless of whether they were governors or aristocrat clans, no one was to antagonize him. After a period of time, the Emperor Pavilion announced that they would take over the businesses of the 3 aristocrat clans and reorganize them. In addition, they would join forces with those powers that were allied with them to take over these businesses. The Emperor Pavilion would borrow manpower from them and provide them with compensation. For a period of time, a commotion broke out in the central city regions. What a good Emperor Pavilion! Not only did they suppress their enemies, they even expanded their influence. Most probably, in just a few years, the Emperor Pavilion would control the largest business in the central city regions. Also, they didn't need to pay any tributes. Just like what everyone expected, the rise of the Emperor Pavilion was unstoppable. It's just that no one expected it to be so tyrannical and so fast. Chapter 1638. In Li-Fire City, the original governor of the central city regions, Xia Ho, disappeared. The 3 aristocrat clans also disappeared. Before this, when Di Tian held the banquet, he had clearly stated that he wanted to investigate the matters of the past and settle old scores. But at that time, no one expected Di Tian to be so tyrannical and decisive. Also, from the things that happened, the Li-Fire Empyrean didn't interfere at all. Xia Ho was clearly not Di Tian's opponent. The Li-Fire Empyrean didn't interfere in the conflict between Di Tian and Xia Ho. Xia Ho was clearly not Di Tian's opponent. Governor Xia Ho, whose name shook the central city regions for many years, didn't even have the strength to resist and was directly removed from his position by Di Tian. Right now, no one knew where he was. Not long after, the Li-Fire Empyrean sent an expert to take over the central governor's manor. This governor was named Sun Qian. He was a peak-stage immortal emperor who had cultivated for many years and was someone who had been by the Li-Fire Empyrean's side for a long time. He always had a smile on his face and seemed extremely amiable. On the second day after he took over, he immediately came to pay a visit to the Emperor Pavilion. Right now, the governors of Li-Fire City seemed to have come to a tacit understanding. If they wanted to stabilize their positions, they had to build up a good relationship with Di Tian. After all, which governor of Li-Fire City didn't have any weaknesses? What if Di Tian, the supervisory commander, wanted to do things seriously? After the matter with Xia Ho happened, Yin Qiu regretted it. So it turned out that it was useless for him to express his stance. Di Tian still did what he wanted to do and was extremely decisive. Yin Qiu had offended Di Tian for no reason, and in the future, he had to tuck his tail between his legs. If not, who knew if Di Tian would be jealous and deal with him like how he dealt with Xia Ho one day. After that, the Emperor Pavilion's development was naturally a matter of time. The Emperor Pavilion started to recruiting experts from all over the world. The treatment they offered was extremely good. After all, the Emperor Pavilion could afford it now. Just the amount of tributes the Emperor Pavilion saved was enough to nurture many experts. As the Emperor Pavilion expanded, they gradually returned the people of the other powers to them while their own people took over. As time flowed by, the Emperor Pavilion gradually gained control of the entire industry. Also, everyone knew that this was only the beginning. Just like what everyone expected, with the support of the Realm Lord and the exemption of taxes, in addition to Di Tian's position as the supervisory commander, no one in Li-Fire City dared to not open the door of convenience. In just a few years, the Emperor Pavilion has already become a hegemonic power. Their businesses expanded to the various regions of Li-Fire City, including the northern regions where Qin Wenyan and the Jialan clan were located. The Jialan clan strongly supported Di Tian's arrival. They have always maintained a very friendly relationship with Di Tian, and it was the same for Di Tian as well. Jialan Chuyue would often go to the Emperor Pavilion to chat with Di Tian. In fact, the Jialan clan would even personally pay a visit, hinting at the relationship between Di Tian and Jialan Chuyue, wanting to form a marriage alliance. However, although Di Tian's relationship with Jialan Chuyue was very close, he still acted dumb with regards to the hints from the Jialan clan and didn't express his stance. This caused Jialan Chuyue to look at him with a look of hidden bitterness in her eyes. Di Tian couldn't bear to see such a beautiful woman looking at him with such a gaze. His hatred for the Jialan clan gradually grew weaker. Naturally, this was an exception for the Jialan monarch. He wouldn't forget Yi Qinyu, who was still imprisoned in the lifelong Saint Hall just because of Jialan Chuyue's friendly actions. If it wasn't for the Jialan monarch, many things wouldn't have happened. Every time the Jialan clan exchanged flirtatious glances with Di Tian, the people of the Mo clan were extremely anxious. They urged Mo Junyi to get closer to Di Tian. They mustn't let Jialan Chuyue beat them to it. Mo Junyi was just a young miss of a noble clan. How could she bear to take the initiative to stick close to Di Tian? At most, she would act as if they were close to each other. Time flowed by day. The Emperor Pavilion changed day by day. However, to the vast Li-Fire Palace, this little bit of change wasn't enough to reach the apex. As long as the Li-Fire Palace was still sitting in its original position, the Li-Fire Palace would forever be the same as before. There wasn't much of a difference. Compared to Di Tian and the Emperor Pavilion's high-profile rise, Qin Wenyan, who was also famous in Lifelong City back then, was much more low-profile. He was the same as before, silently cultivating as though he wasn't interested in anything happening in the outside world. The Jialan clan also sent people to invite Qin Wenyan several times, wanting to ease their relationship and resolve their conflicts. However, they didn't even manage to see Qin Wenyan. Some people guessed that maybe Qin Wenyan wasn't in the governor's manor at all and had been tempering himself outside. After all, no one in the northern city regions would dare to cause trouble. With Qin Wentian's fame and the example of the ancient river auction house from back then, in addition to the fact that the Jialan clan didn't intend to continue fighting against Qin Wenyan, who would still dare to cause trouble. Naturally, every 10 years, when the Li-Fire Empyrean came to pay tribute, Qin Wenyan would always appear on time. Compared to Di Tian, Qin Wenyan gave the Li-Fire Empyrean a lot of face. Just like in the lifelong Saint Hall, his performance was remarkable. Even if the Li-Fire Empyrean was suspicious of him, it wouldn't be good for him to do anything to Qin Wenyan. Maybe, the thoughts between him and Qin Wenyan would fade away with time. Regardless of Di Tian or Qin Wenyan, from the Li-Fire Empyrean's point of view, their behavior was very normal. Di Tian was praised by the Realm Lord and enjoyed special privileges in the Li-Fire Palace. It was very normal for him to act in a high-profile manner, and there were even times when Di Tian didn't give the Li-Fire Empyrean any face. The Li-Fire Empyrean would also do things according to Di Tian's personality. In any case, there was no true conflict between the two of them. Even if Di Tian really obtained the Realm Lord's favor in the future and stood at a certain height, it wouldn't affect the Li-Fire Empyrean at all. Hence, the Li-Fire Empyrean was very lenient towards Di Tian. Di Tian couldn't help but to admit this point. Qin Wenyan was also very normal. Because of his relationship with Yi Qinyu, in addition to the fact that Qin Wenyan went against the Li-Fire Empyrean's orders to head to Lifelong City, Qin Wenyan was very clear that the Li-Fire Empyrean was wary of him. Hence, he kept a low profile and didn't show any sharpness. The river of time would never stop flowing. Unknowingly, tens of years passed. In these tens of years, Li-Fire City was still the same as before. However, a new supreme power was born in Li-Fire City, the Emperor Pavilion. After tens of years of development, the Emperor Pavilion had truly grown into a terrifying power. The businesses of the Emperor Pavilion could be found all over Li-Fire City. They weren't limited to a single region. They had a terrifying supply chain in each of the 5 regions. Right now, the businesses of the Emperor Pavilion were no longer limited to auction houses and transaction pavilions. In fact, they had already expanded to inns and inns, as well as taking on missions to forge weapons and inscribe formations. The experts in the Emperor Pavilion had already far surpassed a governor's manor. Such a large business naturally required a lot of manpower to support it. And given how powerful the Emperor Pavilion was, they had sufficient wealth and resources to recruit people. If Di Tian got married and took a wife, children, and grandchildren, the Emperor Pavilion would definitely become a supreme aristocrat clan 1,000 years later. Hence, during these years, Di Tian encountered many things that made him speechless. Many major powers would send their young misses to the Emperor Pavilion. It was simply like they were here for a blind date. In fact, even if Di Tian didn't officially marry them, it was fine if he only wanted to take them as his concubines. After encountering such situations many times, Di Tian directly refused to meet them again. This caused many people to be puzzled. Grandmaster Di was already famous and accomplished. Why was he so distant from women? One must know that leaving aside Jialan Chuyue, who was a peak-level beauty, even the young miss of the Mo clan, Mo Junyi, was also a rare beauty. Also, the young misses they sent to the Emperor Pavilion, which one of them wasn't talented and beautiful? Would they dare to send ordinary women to the Emperor Pavilion? For other people with Di Tian's level of achievements, it was very normal for them to have many beauties around them. But Grandmaster Di actually didn't accept any of them. Even if he didn't marry or take concubines, the other powers wouldn't have any objections even if he kept them by his side. As long as Di Tian accepted them, they would at least have the status of a concubine, right? Could it be that Grandmaster Di already had someone in his heart? If not, why didn't he even want to marry the young miss of the Jialan clan? Today, the headquarters of the Emperor Pavilion in the central city regions had already expanded by an unknown number of times and was incomparably resplendent. The courtyard Di Tian was in was exquisitely decorated. Every step he took, there was a scenery. This was personally arranged by Mo Junyi. Right now, this place was no longer a place where just anyone could enter easily. Even peak-stage immortal emperors had to report their arrival. However, at this moment, there was a female in the courtyard. She was incomparably beautiful and exuded a noble aura. This female was none other than Jialan Chuyue. Chuyue, why are you so free to come here? Di Tian smiled. I encountered some troublesome matters and came here to take a walk. Jialan Chuyue's gaze was filled with hidden bitterness when she stared at Di Tian. During these tens of years, their relationship was already very close. Is that so? Tell me about it. Di Tian sat in front of Jialan Chuyue. Do you still remember the Xianyuan clan you met tens of years ago in Lifelong City? Jialan Chuyue asked. I naturally remember. The Xianyuan clan is so powerful and they even have a world palace lord. How could I forget about them? Di Tian laughed. Someone from the Xianyuan clan came to Lifelong City to propose marriage, wanting a young genius from the Xianyuan clan to form a marriage alliance with my Jialan clan. Isn't it the son of Xianyuan Hao who came earlier? He's even more outstanding compared to him. Jialan Chuyue's beautiful eyes stared at Di Tian as she spoke, feeling trepidation in her heart. In truth, there was no such thing. She was just making things up. Oh, he wants to marry you? Di Tian started as he asked. Upon seeing the shock on Di Tian's face, Jialan Chuyue's heart stirred. She seriously nodded her head as a hint of anticipation could be seen in her eyes. Chuyue, congratulations. This is such a good thing. Why are you so troubled? Di Tian suddenly laughed as he spoke in an extremely serious manner. Jialan Chuyue's beautiful eyes froze as she stared at Di Tian in a daze. Di Tian didn't seem to be joking. Congratulations? Good thing? Her clan had hinted to Di Tian many times, but after so many years, Di Tian still didn't express his stance. She finally mustered her courage and listened to her clan's suggestion, putting down her pride and even lying. Just to exchange for a sentence of congratulations? At this moment, Jialan Chuyue only felt incomparably wronged. Her pride and self-esteem were all trampled on. Ding, you bastard! This was the first time Jialan Chuyue cursed. After that, she turned and ran away, her eyes red, leaving behind a dumbfounded Di Tian. Chapter 1639. In an ordinary-looking courtyard in the lifelong St. Hall, Yi Chenyu quietly laid there, exuding a sense of laziness. Her alluring figure was extremely alluring. During these tens of years, she and some other maidens of the Red Dust Immortal Palace had been imprisoned in the lifelong St. Hall, unable to go out. Occasionally, when the lifelong Realm Lord was in the mood, he would summon them for a dance. Although they didn't really have to do any chores, It was better to let them do chores than to treat them like dancers. Sometimes, Yi Qinyu also wanted to resist, but she knew what sort of existence the lifelong Realm Lord was. If one dared to resist his orders in the lifelong Saint Hall, a single word from him would be enough to kill you. But she still wanted to see a certain person grow. She wanted to see how many more years the lifelong Realm Lord could admire their dances. Every once in a while, Qin Wentian's voice would ring out in Yi Qinyu's mind. That was the motivation for her to continue living. She knew that there had always been someone worrying about her. Although her messaging crystal had been confiscated and she had no way to reply, Qin Wentian knew that she could hear his voice. Even if she couldn't reply, Qin Wentian would still frequently chat with her. Naturally, Qin Wentian was the one speaking and she was the one listening. At this moment, the sound of footsteps rang out. Yi Qinyu was still lying there lazily. She opened her eyes and stared at the person who came. She saw a face that wasn't in any way inferior to her own. It was as cold as ice and his black hair cascaded down like a waterfall. "You are here." Yi Qinyu lazily spoke. "Sit." "Does he know that the lifelong Realm Lord is treating you like this?" Princess Kitamura's cold voice rang out. During these years, she had always been in the lifelong Saint Hall. The lifelong Realm Lord personally gave the order to keep her here. How could the Lifefire Empyrean disobey? From then on, she stayed in the lifelong Saint Hall. Many people said that she, Princess Kitamura, had become the lifelong Realm Lord's trusted aide. There were also rumors that the lifelong Realm Lord was interested in Princess Kitamura. Naturally, such rumors wouldn't reach her ears. No one would dare to do so. Even now, Baiming Yuhuang still didn't know the reason. She knew that Qin Wentian had displayed extraordinary talent during the banquet in the lifelong realm. He single-handedly challenged the Empyrean governors and monarchs of the 8 world palaces and defeated them all. She didn't understand why from then on, the lifelong Realm Lord would summon her here. At the same time, he would frequently make Yi Qinyu dance. This was a form of disrespect to Yi Qinyu. It was impossible for the lifelong Realm Lord to not know about this. In addition, back then, the reason why Qin Wentian went out to battle was because of Yi Qinyu. The lifelong Realm Lord also understood this. But why would he do this? Princess Kitamura wasn't clear about this. She had no way to guess the lifelong Realm Lord's thoughts. It was hard to guess what major characters were thinking. "I don't even have my messaging crystal. How would he know?" Yi Qinyu smiled. Her grace didn't diminish at all. "In that case, do you know why the Realm Lord did this?" Princess Kitamura asked again. "Even you don't understand why he made you stay here. How would I know?" Yi Qinyu stared at Princess Kitamura. Clearly, this wasn't the first time the two of them chatted. Maybe it's because your dance is too beautiful and the Realm Lord is infatuated with it. However, everyone in the lifelong realm knows that the reason he went out to battle back then was because of you. The Realm Lord wouldn't want to snatch your love away. Hence, he only made you dance for him to watch. Princess Kitamura calmly spoke. If not, she truly couldn't think of any other reasons. "You didn't ask him?" Yi Qinyu smiled. Princess Kitamura started. "It has been a very long time since she contacted Qin Wentian. Could it be that you want to tell him about your encounter here?" Princess Kitamura asked. "You didn't ask him because the moment you did, he would surely find out about my situation and know of my encounter. He would hate the lifelong Realm Lord and might do something impulsive, causing a calamity to befall him. Hence, you would rather not tell him that you are here in the lifelong Saint Hall." Yi Qinyu's beautiful eyes stared at Princess Kitamura as she smiled. "You like him, right?" Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes froze. After that, she stood up and turned to leave. Upon seeing this scene, Yi Qinyu smiled. "Back then, for the sake of you, he has already acted against you once. Hence, you don't dare to tell him. You are afraid that he would act impulsively again for the sake of me." Baiming Yuhuang didn't halt her steps. She directly left the area and swiftly vanished from sight. Yi Qinyu stared at her back as she mumbled, "You must have ravaged quite a number of females in Lifefire City, right?" Right now, Qin Wentian wasn't in Lifefire City. Right now, he was strolling around Heavenly City. The Thousand Feathers Palace of the past had already become the territory of others and was currently open for business. Upon seeing Qin Wendian entering, the beautiful serving girl couldn't help but smile when she saw his extraordinary demeanor. "Sir, what do you want? I can recommend something." "I'm just taking a walk around casually." Qin Wendian smiled. His originally handsome face was exceptionally mesmerizing when he smiled. The beautiful serving girl stared at him in a daze as her heart pounded. Right now, Qin Wendian's demeanor was simply too attractive. One could tell that he was an extraordinary character with a single glance. "Okay, I will bring Sir around." The serving girl gently smiled. "No need, I can just walk around by myself." Qin Wendian smiled and walked away. The serving girl had a look of disappointment on her face as she stared at Qin Wendian's back. Qin Wendian came to the inner palace of the Thousand Feathers Palace. However, the appearance of this place had already changed. He walked all the way to a tall platform in the backyard and stared at this majestic city that resembled a dragon's vein. "Who is it?" Someone coldly spoke. After that, several immortal emperors appeared here, coldly staring at Qin Wendian. "Sir, this place is private property. You are not allowed to barge in." "Sorry, I've stayed here before. Hence, I'm just taking a walk around." Qin Wendian smiled. Those people could sense Qin Wendian's extraordinary demeanor, but they couldn't see through his cultivation base. Hence, they couldn't help but feel hesitant in their hearts. Right now, Qin Wendian spoke again. "I'll just take a seat and leave. I won't do anything else. Sorry for the disturbance." After speaking, Qin Wendian sat down as though there was no one else here. He took out a flask of wine and started to drink alone. The image of Yi Qinyu in the past flashed in his mind. Right now, he wondered how Yi Qinyu was doing. Those people left, but they didn't go too far away. They stood outside and stared at Qin Wendian. A light breeze blew by. The wine didn't intoxicate him. Qin Wendian was the same as Yi Qinyu in the past. He laid there lazily and stared at the majestic city, exuding a sense of loneliness. The supreme ancient immortal realms were boundlessly vast. He had met many people here. However, the person who left the deepest impression in his mind was naturally Yi Qinyu. Maybe there was also Yu Huang. However, she couldn't be considered someone from the supreme ancient immortal realms. "Are you doing well?" At this moment, a voice rang out in his mind. Qin Wendian almost thought that he was hearing things. He couldn't help but to start. After that, he took out his messaging crystal and sent his immortal sense in. He found a strand of immortal sense and asked, "Yu Huang." "Amichim, how are you?" The gentle voice rang out again. A smile appeared in Qin Wendian's eyes. "I was just thinking about you. I didn't expect you to send me a message so quickly." "I'm doing well, but what about you? Where did the Lifefire Empyrean arrange for you? I can't see you every time I go to the Lifefire Palace." "I'm in the Lifelong Saint Hall." Princess Kitamura spoke in a light voice. Qin Wendian's eyes narrowed. He placed the wine flask down and slowly sat up. He asked, "Why are you in the Lifelong Saint Hall? When did this happen?" "Back then, after you displayed your brilliance in Lifelong City, the Lifelong Realm Lord transferred me to the Lifelong Saint Hall. From then on, I've been staying there. The Lifefire Empyrean also severed all contact with me. It's like I suddenly became someone of the Lifelong Saint Hall." Princess Kitamura spoke in a light voice. From her tone, one could tell that she didn't know the reason. Qin Wendian's heart pounded violently. Many thoughts flashed through his mind. He thought of the Gemini Palace Lord. He thought of ancient Emperor. There was only one possibility for the Lifelong Realm Lord to know Princess Kitamura. It was because of Qin Wendian. The Lifelong Realm Lord investigated him and felt that Qin Wendian was the disciple of ancient Emperor. And back then he and Princess Kitamura appeared in Jialan Emperor City as fellow apprentice brother and sister. Because of this, the Lifelong Realm Lord transferred Princess Kitamura to the Lifelong Saint Hall. Did the Lifelong Realm Lord ask you anything? For example, the relationship between us and our sect? Qin Wendian asked. Princess Kitamura fell silent for a moment, as though she was thinking. After that, she replied, "Sometimes, when we chatted, I don't know if it was a hint or not. But I didn't ask for more details. Qin Wendian fell silent. A moment later, he asked again, have you met Yi Qinyu before? I've been waiting for you to ask. Princess Kitamura immediately replied, not long ago I met her. I don't know why, but the lifelong realm lord doesn't respect her at all. Although he didn't make things difficult for her, he would often make her dance for him. Qin Wentian's expression instantly changed, becoming somewhat unsightly to behold. In the battle back then, he fought for Yi Qinyu. Everyone knew this, including the realm lord. However, the realm lord did this not only because he didn't respect Yi Qinyu, he also didn't care about him, Qin Wenyan. Naturally, the lofty realm lord truly didn't need to care about his existence. So what if his talent was outstanding? After all, he was merely an immortal emperor. I only told you this now because I was afraid you would be impulsive. Yi Qinyu said that she believes in you and that you wouldn't be the same as before. Princess Kitamura slowly spoke. Qin Wenyan started again. He thought back then when he went to the Jialan Emperor city because of Princess Kitamura. It directly caused Yi Qinyu to be captured. From then on, Princess Kitamura was also confined to the Lifefire Palace. And now, she was sent to the lifelong Saint Hall. I will take note. Qin Wendian drew in a deep breath as he transmitted his voice over. I'll be leaving then. Take care of yourself. Princess Kitamura muttered to herself for a moment before her voice rang out. You want you to. If anything happens in the lifelong Saint Hall, tell me immediately. Qin Wendian replied. Princess Kitamura didn't reply. Qin Wendian kept his messaging crystal and stared into the distance. Abruptly, a powerful coldness gushed forth from him, instantly enveloping this entire space. Those who were staring at him from the outside only felt fear in their hearts as they felt an incomparably heavy pressure. A beam of light flashed as that silhouette directly vanished from sight. After he vanished, numerous silhouettes flickered over, appearing at the location where Qin Wendian left. They exchanged glances as they spoke in a low voice. That person is so terrifying. Chapter 1640. Bastard, he actually dared to act as a bandit to kill him. He had to pay any price to kill him. At this instant, the subordinates of the Jialan monarch were all stunned. In fact, they even forgot about the battle. They forgot everything. Only to see several figures descending from the sky. All of them were wearing special masks. Their faces couldn't be seen clearly. There were actually 3 immortal emperors among them, while the others were all immortal kings. One must know that as one of the 9 monarchs of the Lifefire Palace, his strength was extremely powerful. Even if the Jialan clan used some tricks, if he wasn't strong enough, no matter how much support the Jialan clan gave him, it would be impossible for him to ascend to the throne. How could someone who was too weak be able to guard such a vast territory? Even a random bandit wouldn't be able to deal with him. That mid-stage immortal emperor instantly took out his messaging crystal and sent a message in, Monarch, there are bandits trying to plunder the mine. However, the bandit leader's saber didn't stop. This saber slashed through the void. When it slashed out, the Jialan monarch only felt his soul being lacerated as he groaned in misery. After that, he saw the bandit leader walking over. The bandit leader stretched his hand out and made a grabbing motion in the air. This grab was like the hand of a devil king of darkness. Back then, the grudge between the Jialan monarch and Qin Wenyan caused a terrifying storm. Qin Wenyan and the evil emperor slaughtered their way into the emperor palace, killing many experts there. The Jialan monarch's power was damaged and he was no longer regarded as highly by his clan. In addition to the pressure from the Lifefire Empyrean, he had been living a very unhappy life during these years. The expression of the Jialan monarch instantly turned incomparably heavy. The demonic white snake arced through the air, instantly appearing above the bandit leader. It opened its jaws wide, wanting to devour the bandit leader in a single gulp. The Jialan monarch died? Someone who wants your life. At this instant, the eyes of the bandit leader flashed with terrifying lightning sabers, directly shooting into the eyes of the Jialan monarch, aiming for his soul. Boom! The space trembled. The Jialan monarch felt like he was being held in the palm of a devil king. He struggled madly, his eyes were cold to the extreme as he stared fixedly at the bandit leader. He roared in rage, "Who are you?" The Jalan monarch furrowed his brows. Staring at the other party's reaction, he faintly sensed that the other party was clearly waiting for him to come. At this moment, many people felt their hairs stand on end. Had this world gone mad? Even bandits were so crazy. The expression of the guardian below was as pale as paper. But at this moment, a resplendent spatial energy gushed over as a terrifying aura erupted over. A voice rang out, "Who dares to behave atrociously in my territory?" The bandit leader acted as though he didn't see anything. He took a step out, causing the heavens and earth to rumble as a tyrannical might engulfed the area. Beams of saber light flashed through the air, akin to black lightning, directly slashing the demonic beasts into pieces. In the darkness, a white bolt of lightning shot towards the Jalan monarch. Demonic scales appeared on the bandit leader's arms as he punched out, manifesting a gigantic snake that danced in the air. "You are..." the Jalan monarch roared. However, with a thunderous boom, that terrifying palm imprint of darkness directly slammed together, suppressing everything. The Jalan monarch's body trembled violently as fresh blood gushed out. He directly shut his mouth as his face turned ashen. His eyes were filled with despair as he stared at the bandit leader, filled with boundless terror and rage. At this instant, the Jalan monarch wanted to take out his messaging crystal and report the identity of the bandit leader. However, it was already too late. He was filled with deep despair. Boom! Boundless destructive energy gushed forth. The Jalan monarch was about to be completely destroyed. Before he died, he suddenly thought of many things. He thought of the past. He was a genius of the Jalan clan and was heavily nurtured by the clan. The clan arranged for him to seize the position of the Lifefire Palace's monarch, giving him a lofty position. His authority towered up into the sky and he could control the life and death of many people. In addition, countless terrifying resources flowed through his hands. "If you all leave now, I can just treat this as a misunderstanding." The sky was blue, the sky was clear for 10,000 miles. A light breeze blew by, causing people to feel extremely comfortable. However, the people of the heavenly meteor mine were all extremely tense. The day of opening was always an extremely important day. There was no room for mistakes. Everyone was on high alert. Although the probability of bandits appearing was extremely low, there was still a possibility. Hence, no one dared to be careless. After speaking, he inclined his head and stared at everyone in the air. "Everyone, this is the heavenly meteor mine under the jurisdiction of the Jalan monarch. If anything happens to this mine, the Jalan monarch would definitely not let this matter rest. In addition, there's still the Lifefire Empyrean above. The price of robbing this mine isn't something you all can afford. If you all leave now, I'll treat this as a misunderstanding." Although the Lifefire Empyrean and the Jalan monarch weren't on the same side, killing a monarch was definitely a great taboo. However, this bandit leader actually dared to kill one of the 9 monarchs, the Jalan monarch, in front of everyone. However, at this moment, the Jalan monarch was actually so weak in front of this bandit leader. From this, one could very well imagine how powerful this bandit leader was. All of them were filled with terror as they stared at the corpse on the ground, as well as the figure who killed the Jalan monarch. Was this person crazy? He actually dared to kill a monarch? Could it be that he didn't know the consequences of his actions? This world would no longer be able to tolerate him. Even the Jalan monarch couldn't deal with these bandits. How terrifying were these bandits? The immortal emperor standing in the center waved his hand. A moment later, a group of people directly rushed over. A terrifying aura gushed forth, exuding a terrifying pressure. At this moment, the Jalan monarch seemed to have guessed who this person was. He screamed madly in his heart. It's him who wants to kill me." The Jalan monarch was very angry. He was truly angry. Back then, it was precisely because of a group of bandits that he, the Jalan monarch, became a laughingstock. His son was killed and his clan no longer valued him. And now, these bandits actually dared to appear in his territory? "Who are you?" Don't you know that bandits will be hunted down endlessly? The Jalan monarch coldly spoke. His eyes directly pierced through space, staring into the eyes of the bandit leader. However, the eyes of the bandit leader were extremely terrifying, incomparably deep. There was no reaction at all. Another thunderous boom rang out. The Jalan monarch's entire body was on the verge of exploding. His entire body was dyed red with blood, and he was only left with a single breath. His eyes were still filled with malice as he stared at the bandit leader who killed him. He was in high spirits, his life was moving towards glory. If he wanted wind, he would get wind. There was nothing he couldn't obtain. He wanted to say something, but it was too late. The destructive attack slammed down once more. The Jalan monarch was finally completely killed as his body powerlessly fell from the air. The monarch has arrived. The experts guarding the mine felt extremely excited. They only saw the Jalan monarch personally leading a group of experts over, exuding an intense pressure. The Jalan monarch's body flashed with a bright light as a dragon snake coiled in the air, exuding a demonic aura. His eyes were also extremely demonic as he stared at the bandit leader. As the sound of his voice faded, everyone instantly moved, getting into formation and guarding the mine. All of them inclined their heads and stared at the sky as though they were facing a great enemy. Have you guys gone mad? A mid-stage immortal emperor under the Jalan monarch cursed. A resplendent light radiated from him as he soared up into the air, killing his way towards the bandit leader. This bandit leader was clad in a mysterious robe, exuding an extremely cold aura, tyrannical like a devil. If not, given how powerful this bandit leader was, he basically didn't need to be a bandit. He could just directly go to the Lifefire Palace and he would be able to get a good job. Today, the heavenly meteorite mine was opened. Today, experts were as common as the clouds. A mid-stage immortal emperor and 2 initial-stage immortal emperors were personally guarding the mine. However, the bandit leader didn't feel any fear at all. He stared at the Jalan monarch as his eyes gleamed with coldness. He had no thoughts of fleeing at all. The bandit leader didn't reply to him, only a terrifying killing intent radiated from him. The people below all turned pale when they saw the Jalan monarch being controlled by the bandit leader. This bandit leader was like a devil god, unexcelled in the world. Even the Jalan monarch wasn't a match for him. They could faintly sense that doomsday had arrived. The Jalan monarch, one of the 9 monarchs under the Lifefire Palace, was actually killed by the bandit leader? In the depths of the heavenly meteorite mine, a group of people continued to hand over their oars. At this moment, the mid-stage immortal emperor suddenly frowned. After that, his eyes abruptly opened as he stared at the sky. An extremely cold gaze pierced through the air as he coldly spoke. There are bandits. He could faintly sense that this unexcelled bandit leader wasn't here for the mine but for him, the Jalan monarch. He wanted to use the identity of a bandit to plunder the mine before luring the Jalan monarch here to hunt him down. A black bolt of lightning flashed, akin to the saber of a devil king. It cleaved apart the space, directly slicing the white snake apart. The Jalan monarch's expression drastically changed. He took out a divine weapon and slashed it forward. A moment later, tens of thousands of demonic beasts rushed out, rushing towards the bandit leader. Kill! The mid-stage immortal emperor instantly rushed over. His towering sword intent slashed towards the bandit leader. However, the bandit leader directly slashed out a beam of saber light. This saber light seemed capable of cleaving apart the heavens and earth, tearing apart the void. In an instant, a bloody wound appeared in the center of the mid-stage immortal emperor's brows. After that, the wound continued to seep downwards. In an instant, that mid-stage immortal emperor died. However, he didn't expect that his life would change so quickly. Just when he was feeling complacent, everything suddenly changed. He encountered those fellows who caused him to be consigned to eternal damnation. The bandit leader was definitely the bandit leader. However, this didn't affect the Jalan monarch's control over the resources. In this vast region, there were many mines being mined. The 3 main mines, Quicksand Mine, Heavenly Meteorite Mine and Violet Cloud Mine, had the tightest security. Experts were as common as clouds, with immortal emperors personally guarding them. Go to hell! A cold voice rang out. The terrifying Devil King Palm of Darkness erupted forth with boundless destructive might. The Jalan monarch screamed in agony as his entire body convulsed violently. His insides were being destroyed unceasingly. He could feel the fearsome destructive might from the palm imprint. The Jalan monarch glared hatefully at the bandit leader. Chapter 1641. The bandit leader stared at the fallen Jalan monarch. The eyes beneath the mask were incomparably deep. After that, it was as though nothing had happened. He glanced in the other directions and spoke, "Everyone, hand over all the mines. For those who don't, kill them without mercy." Everyone felt their hearts trembling. How would they dare to resist? Even the immortal emperors who came with the Jalan monarch were all dumbfounded. The Jalan monarch was killed. Even a powerful monarch was killed on the spot. How could they resist? What difference was there between resisting and courting death? At this moment, it was clear that their lives were more important. Great waves rose up in their hearts. They still felt that this was a little surreal. This world was too crazy. The last time bandits appeared was when Yi Qinyu and her group appeared. At that time, those bandits were already powerful and tyrannical enough, causing the Jalan monarch to be in a miserable state. At the end, the Lifefire Palace interfered and managed to suppress them, imprisoning Yi Qinyu and bringing Qin Wendian away as well. However, after 100 years, the bandits appeared again. In addition, they were even more ruthless and tyrannical, even more daring and crazy, directly killing the Jalan monarch. No matter what relationship the Jalan monarch had with the Lifefire Empyrean, he was one of the 9 monarchs and was a subordinate of the lifelong Realm Lord. As a bandit, you actually dared to rob a mine belonging to a Realm Lord and killed a monarch? This was definitely a great taboo. The Lifefire Palace would definitely hunt you down. If you were merely a bandit, the Lifefire Palace would only investigate the Jalan monarch. But since the Jalan monarch was killed by you, how could the Lifefire Palace not investigate to the end? These bandits were prepared to endure the towering anger of the Lifefire Palace. However, all of these were matters for the future. The subordinates of the Jalan monarch, the guards of the Skyfall mine, all trembled as they handed over the mines. No one dared to resist and all of them were extremely obedient. The bandits directly seized the mines and no longer killed anyone. It was like they were just a bunch of ordinary bandits. If the Jalan monarch didn't die, let's go. After that, the bandit leader waved his hands. The group of them soared into the air and swiftly vanished from this area. The experts in the Sky Meteorite mines still haven't recovered from their shock. All of them stared dumbfoundedly at the corpse of the Jalan monarch. Someone spoke, "Send this news to the Lifefire Palace with the fastest speed. If not, all of us will be doomed." As for the group of bandits, they directly left the Sky Meteorite mine and arrived in the airspace above a desolate mountain far away. A group of bandits had unkind gazes as they stared at their leader. "Why did you kill the Jalan monarch? Have you gone mad?" Clearly, they didn't know that they were here to kill the Jalan monarch. What's done is done. You guys have already taken the mine. What's the point of saying so much? Disperse. The bandit leader calmly spoke, as though killing the Jalan monarch wasn't a big deal. "We agreed that we would only rob the mine. Because of your strength, we agreed to be bandits and let you block the Jalan monarch and the others. However, you actually killed the Jalan monarch. Are you trying to cause our deaths? Who are you exactly?" Another person coldly spoke. The bandit leader's cold eyes directly landed on him as a terrifying killing intent enveloped this space. The pressure was terrifying to the extreme. The gazes of the bandits instantly froze as they felt their bodies turning cold. Only now did they realize that the bandit leader was someone who even dared to kill the Jalan monarch. If he wanted to silence them, wouldn't it be a simple matter? Yet, they actually dared to question the bandit leader? When they thought of this, their expressions all turned pale. "You should know that we are also anxious. This is too crazy, we don't understand." Another person spoke. His tone was much gentler than before. Clearly, he was worried that the bandit leader would kill all of them in a fit of anger. Things have already been done, what's the point of thinking so much? The cultivation resources have already been distributed. It's much better compared to you guys being unaffiliated cultivators. Also, this is only a one-time deal. In the future, all of you can go back and do what you want to do. In the future, don't appear as bandits again. Without any clues, who would be able to trace it back to you guys? The bandit leader calmly spoke. All of you can disperse. You guys don't even know each other's identities. Just leave and we won't have anything to do with each other in the future. The eyes of everyone flashed. This bandit leader was right. It's just that this time around, they didn't leave any clues behind. It wouldn't be so easy to trace them back to them. This time around, they chose to become bandits because it was too tough to be unaffiliated cultivators. They lacked cultivation resources, and at this moment, this terrifying bandit leader came looking for them and displayed his strength, wanting to bring them along to do a big job. They agreed, and hence, this matter happened today. Farewell. Numerous figures directly soared into the air and departed. They didn't waste any words and didn't even interact with each other. It would be best if they didn't know each other and didn't know each other. In that case, if someone found out about this, they wouldn't be implicated. Robbing a mine and killing a monarch. If they were caught by the Livefire Palace, only death would await them. Livefire City, Northern City Region, Governor's Manor. Within the Governor's Manor, a white-robed figure walked out. This figure was incomparably handsome and exuded a carefree aura. Many people in the Governor's Manor inclined their heads and stared at this white-robed figure. Their eyes were filled with respect. This was their governor, their exuding magnificence through the generations. Back then, he single-handedly defeated all the governors and monarchs of the 9 world palaces. How glorious was that! Although their governor has been very low-profile during these years, no one dared to show any disrespect to him. When they looked at the white-robed figure, it was like they were looking at a divinity. This was their faith, a godlike existence. The white-robed figure turned his gaze over and stared at the crowd below. Everyone could clearly see his incomparably handsome countenance. He was extremely outstanding. I'm going out to temper myself and might need some time. If someone comes to look for me, just tell them that I'm not around. Unless there's an extremely important matter, don't disturb me. The white-robed figure calmly spoke. After that, his silhouette flashed, transforming into a beam of light as he vanished. Everyone stared at the departing figure, feeling a sense of disappointment and frustration. Even for them, there weren't many chances for them to personally see this white-robed figure. Lord Governor, is he going out to temper himself again? No one knew where he would go this time around. The news of the Jialan monarch's death was circulated back to the Emperor Palace in Jialan Emperor City at the fastest speed. After that, the Livefire Palace heard about it. In fact, there were even people who used teleportation arrays to bring the Jialan monarch's corpse to the Livefire Palace to report this. Within the Livefire Palace, many experts gathered together, arriving at the Great Hall of the Livefire Palace. The Livefire Empyrean personally came. When he saw the Jialan monarch's corpse, his expression instantly turned cold to the extreme. Although the Jialan monarch was someone from the Jialan clan and he didn't wish for the Jialan monarch to sit in that position, no matter what, the Jialan monarch was still his subordinate. If he didn't want the Jialan monarch to sit in that position, he should be the one to kick the Jialan monarch away. However, there was actually someone who stole a mine and killed one of the 9 monarchs in the territory of his Livefire Palace. Stealing a mine, killing a monarch. Such a vile act actually happened in the territory of his Livefire Palace. One could very well imagine that the Jialan clan would definitely make use of this matter to make a big fuss and report him to the Realm Lord. How did he, the Livefire Empyrean, govern the territory of the Livefire Palace? Tell me everything clearly. The Livefire Empyrean had a sinister look on his face. After that, the person below began to tremble as he reported everything. You are saying that the Jialan monarch might be acquainted with the bandit who killed him and even guessed who it was? But he didn't even have the chance to say it? The Livefire Empyrean coldly spoke when he heard that person's report. That person bowed, This subordinate thinks so. Back then, the Jalan monarch's tone was as though he had already guessed who the bandit was. However, this subordinate doesn't dare to be certain. After all, the Jalan monarch didn't even say it out loud before he was killed. Although Jalan's strength isn't too strong, he's already in charge of a territory. There wouldn't be too many people who could deal with him. As for those who could directly kill him, that number would be even fewer. In addition, since this bandit only killed the Jalan monarch, it means that there's a grudge between them. If we eliminate this, who else do you all think it could be? The Liefire Empyrean coldly spoke. He wasn't just asking the people from Jalan Emperor City, he was also asking the people from the Liefire Palace. The eyes of the people from the Liefire Palace flashed, they seemed to have thought of a person. However, no one dared to say it. When the people from the Jalan Emperor Palace heard the Liefire Empyrean's words, they also seemed to have thought of a person. Similarly, they didn't dare to say it. If there's anything, just say it. Everyone here is my trusted aide. The Liefire Empyrean coldly spoke. This subordinate is worried that I might say something wrong. The Jalan monarch's subordinate bowed. Speak. The Liefire Empyrean coldly spoke. That subordinate's body trembled as he bowed. There's such a person. He was once a bandit and he definitely has the strength and motive to kill the Jalan monarch. The eyes of everyone flashed. Sharpness gleamed in many people's eyes. The words of this person were exactly the same as what they were thinking. Although this person has always been low profile, would he really do such a thing? Back then, the moment he took over, he killed 3 vice-governors and kept a low profile for many years. When he acted again, he killed over 10 immortal emperors and seized control of the ancient river auction house, shaking the northern regions. After doing all these, he acted as though nothing had happened and kept a low profile to cultivate. When he appeared again, he defied the Liefire Empyrean's orders and went to Lifelong City, causing his name to shake the entire Lifelong realm. The possibility of him being the culprit was too high. Given his personality, it was extremely normal for him to do such a thing. After keeping a low profile for tens of years, the moment he acted, it was as though he wanted to kill the Jalan monarch. At this moment, even the Liefire Empyrean's eyes flashed with an extremely cold light. Was it really him? Did he dare to be so audacious to provoke him? During these years, both of them had a tacit understanding, coexisting peacefully. The Liefire Empyrean didn't find trouble with the Jalan monarch, and the Jalan monarch was also very low profile and humble, quietly serving as his vice-governor, not creating trouble or stirring up trouble. If the Jalan monarch continued acting like this, the Liefire Empyrean wouldn't mind continuing to rope him in. However, if the Jalan monarch bore a grudge for what happened in the past and killed the Jalan monarch, that would be crossing his bottom line. Not only did this mean that the Liefire Empyrean would be smacking his face, there was another layer of meaning. Today, the Jalan monarch could kill the Jalan monarch. In the future, when he was strong enough, would he be able to do the same to the Liefire Empyrean? Chapter 1642. The Liefire Empyrean's expression turned heavy. It was very rare for him to be like this in front of his subordinates. But some people seemed to be challenging his bottom line. If he was really the one who did it, there would only be one ending for him. Upon thinking of this, a trace of killing intent flashed in the Liefire Empyrean's eyes. Clearly, the Liefire Empyrean had already determined that it was him. Other than him, he couldn't think of anyone else who would take such a risk to kill a monarch of the Liefire Palace. If it was just a bandit, it was one thing to plunder the mine. But was there a need to kill a monarch? It would be fine as long as they controlled the situation. This would only infuriate the upper echelons to investigate this matter. To bandits, there was no benefit at all. There were very few people with this kind of strength and motive. He could only think of one person. Moreover, it was someone who had been a bandit before, so he should be very familiar with it. The Liefire Palace, the northern governor, Qin went in. You can't speak nonsense. I believe that the subordinates of my Liefire Palace know their limits. The Liefire Empyrean had a heavy expression on his face. It seemed like he thought that the words of the person before him had offended him, causing that person to tremble in fear. An immortal emperor was about to prostrate on the ground. That formless pressure caused him to feel suffocated. This subordinate knows his mistake. That person spoke in a low voice. It's good that you know. The Life-Fire Empyrean calmly spoke. Men, immediately send people to the various governors' manors and summon them to the Life-Fire Palace as soon as possible for a discussion. The eyes of everyone flashed with sharpness when they heard this. The Life-Fire Empyrean was still the best. Although he said not to suspect a certain person, in truth, he actually sent people to inform the various governors to gather here for a discussion. Discussion? What discussion? The Life-Fire Empyrean wanted to see if the governors were in their manners or not, right? Yes. Someone immediately received the order and moved out with extreme speed. In fact, they didn't even use messaging crystals to inform the Life-Fire Empyrean. They had to personally go to the governor's manor to take a look before they knew if the governors were in their manners or not. This was what the Life-Fire Empyrean wanted to know. Not long after, news came from outside the Life-Fire Palace. The clan leader of the Jalon clan, Jalon Yuntion, brought some people from the Jalon clan to pay a visit. The Life-Fire Empyrean naturally wouldn't obstruct them. After all, the Jalon monarch was someone from the Jalon clan. It was only normal for them to want to pay a visit. An instant later, Jalon Yuntion led a group of people from the Jalon clan over. His eyes were fixed on the corpse on the ground. Jalon Yuntion walked forward and came to the side of the corpse. His fists were clenched so tightly that green veins could be seen popping out. It was as though he aged a lot in an instant. Squatting down, Jalon Yuntion gently stroked the Jalon monarch's face. This hegemon of the Jalon clan actually had some redness in his eyes. Regardless of whether the Jalon monarch disappointed him or not, this was still his son. Also, Jalon monarch's talent had always been outstanding. If not, he wouldn't have allowed him to take on such a heavy responsibility. However, this son of his who had displayed outstanding talent since young was now a corpse lying here cold. The eyes of the people from the Jalon clan all turned red, filled with rage and killing intent. No matter what their relationship was when the Jalon monarch was alive, he was still someone from the Jalon clan and was an extremely important member. Now he had been killed. Palace Lord, what's going on? Jalon Yuntian's voice trembled as he asked. He did his best to control his tone, trying to appear calm. Tell the Jalon clan leader what happened. The Life-Fire Empyrean glanced at the immortal emperor who came to report. After that immortal emperor recounted what happened, killing intent flashed in the eyes of the people from the Jalon clan. Someone even spoke. It must be him. Other than Qin Wenyin, there's no one else. That's right, only he would have such strength and motive. Not only that, he was also a bandit before. Someone added. After everyone heard this, the first person they thought of was Qin Wenyin. Shut your mouth. Jalon Yuntian berated, his voice was ice cold. This caused the others to stare at him, feeling puzzled. Their Jalon clan had expressed their goodwill to Qin Wenyin many times, but Qin Wenyin completely ignored them. In fact, he even openly threatened them back then, saying that the Jalon monarch must die for sure. Now, the Jalon monarch has really died. Other than Qin Wenyin, who else could it be? When they thought of this, the people from the Jalon clan were incomparably enraged. That bastard. They had already been extremely benevolent to Qin Wenyin, never making things difficult for him, and had always wanted to mend their relationship. Yet, Qin Wenyin actually still acted against them. Palace Lord, these people speak without thinking, please don't blame them. Jalon Yuntian bowed to the Life-Fire Empyrean. He naturally suspected Qin Wenyin as well, but Qin Wenyin was a governor of the Life-Fire Palace. No matter what, before they had sufficient evidence, they wouldn't be able to say that Qin Wenyin was the murderer. In addition, back then in the Lifelong Realm, the Realm Lord had personally said that they weren't allowed to investigate Qin Wentian's background as a bandit. Qin Wenyin is the northern governor of my Life-Fire Palace. You guys better pay attention to your words or don't blame this seat for punishing you. As for the Jalon monarch's death, I will naturally investigate this matter to the end. No matter who the culprit is, I will definitely kill them. The Life-Fire Empyrean coldly spoke, his tone filled with killing intent. This caused the hearts of the people from the Jialan clan to tremble as they understood Jialan Yuntian's meaning. After all, they were originally at odds with the Li-Fire Empyrean. They couldn't leave any evidence that could be used against them. Slandering a governor wasn't a small matter. Although they felt that this was definitely the case, at the very least, they haven't found out anything yet. I've already sent a message to the governors of Li-Fire City, telling them to investigate this matter. Jialan clan leader, don't worry. The Li-Fire Empyrean's tone softened as he calmly spoke. The eyes of the people from the Jialan clan flashed. Did he already send a message to the governors? In that case, they would soon know whether Qin Wendian was in the governor's manor or not. Since this was the case, they would just wait here. Time slowly flowed by. The atmosphere in the majestic Li-Fire Palace grew heavy. The death of a monarch was definitely not a small matter, let alone the fact that he was killed by bandits. Very swiftly, this news circulated to Li-Fire City. For a period of time, the entire city was in a commotion as many people discussed about this. The Jialan monarch was actually killed by someone. Under the Li-Fire Palace, there was a grand governor, 5 governors, and 9 monarchs. But in truth, the monarchs were the true rulers of a region. They controlled mines and resources and had immense authority. They also controlled many cities, and the cultivation resources they could obtain far surpassed what governors could compare to. Even a grand governor wouldn't be able to compare to them. However, the Jialan monarch of the Jialan clan was actually killed by bandits. This matter instantly spread like wildfire. Many people were speculating about the murderer, and many people involuntarily thought of the northern governor, Qin Wendian. They couldn't help but to think that Qin Wendian was the most suspicious. In fact, there were even people who sighed in admiration. Qin Wendian was as expected of a supreme genius. Back then, he dared to disobey the Li-Fire Empyrean's orders and headed to Liflong City, shocking the world with a single feat. Now, he even pretended to be a bandit and killed the Jialan monarch. This was simply too crazy. The various governors of Li-Fire City were all summoned to the Li-Fire Palace. Beauty Xiao furrowed her brows. She used her messaging crystal to contact Qin Wendian, but Qin Wendian didn't reply. This caused her to silently curse that fellow for being too impulsive. Killing the Jialan monarch at this moment, wasn't that simply courting death? This would definitely infuriate the Li-Fire Empyrean. Once the Li-Fire Empyrean found out who the murderer was, he would definitely kill Qin Wendian before reporting the matter to the higher-ups. Killing a monarch, even if Qin Wendian killed Qin Wendian, the Realm Lord wouldn't say anything either. In Li-Fire City, Grand Governor Zhuge Xiong was the first to arrive. After him was Lin Ba, Sun Qian, who took over Xiaoho's position, Beauty Xiao, and Yin Qiu. Only Qin Wendian didn't arrive. Upon seeing this scene, Beauty Xiao's smile stiffened. Qin Wendian really didn't appear. The people of the Jialan clan all had ashen expressions. The Li-Fire Empyrean's expression was also extremely sinister. Was this really Qin Wendian? If this was the case, don't blame him then. Finally, the immortal emperor who went to the northern governor's manor returned. He even brought someone with him. The Li-Fire Empyrean's expression completely sank when he saw this. That immortal emperor walked towards him and bowed, reporting to Palace Lord, Governor Qin isn't in the governor's manor. Boom. Many people from the Jialan clan flashed with terrifying killing intent. Jialan Yuntian's eyes also flashed with sharpness. As expected, it was him. The Li-Fire Empyrean radiated coldness. Just when he wanted to speak, that immortal emperor continued. However, according to the people in the governor's manor, Governor Qin left not long ago, saying that he has something important to do outside. If there's nothing important, don't disturb him. I intentionally brought an attendant here with me. Imichem? The eyes of everyone flashed when they heard this. The people of the Jialan clan frowned. The Li-Fire Empyrean stared at that attendant and asked, "When did Governor Qin leave?" Reporting to Palace Lord, "About 4 hours ago." That attendant trembled as he replied. The number of people before him was so vast, and there was even the corpse of the Jialan monarch lying on the ground. He seemed to have realized something. "Did he intentionally tell you before he left?" The Li-Fire Empyrean asked again. Not only for me, there are many people in the governor's manor as well. At that time, Lord Governor directly walked out from the inner manor and left a message for us saying that he wanted to leave. Everyone saw it. That attendant didn't dare to hesitate and honestly replied. The Liefire Empyrean turned his gaze to the attendant who headed to the northern governor's manor. That attendant then replied, "Palace Lord, this is indeed the case." The people in the governor's manor all said this. They all saw Governor Qin leaving. The Liefire Empyrean's expression changed. Could it be that he was mistaken? He believed that the people of the governor's manor wouldn't be so bold as to lie to him together. If this was the case, they would be able to find out with a simple investigation. The people of the governor's manor wouldn't be so foolish. It was actually not Qin Wenyan? When he thought of this, the Liefire Empyrean's expression softened a little. If it wasn't Qin Wenyan, things would still be fine. At the very least, Qin Wenyan didn't challenge his bottom line. Palace Lord, although it's best not to disturb Governor Qin if there's nothing important, I believe that if Palace Lord summons him, Governor Qin will definitely return to meet with you. That attendant bowed. The Liefire Empyrean fell silent for a moment before he replied, "There's no need. Since Governor Qin has something important to do, let him handle his own matters first." Chapter 1643. For hours ago, Qin Wenyan was still in the governor's manor and left after that. In that case, the person who killed the Jialan monarch couldn't be Qin Wenyan. If he didn't use the teleportation array in the Jialan Emperor Palace as well as the Liefire Palace's teleportation array, it was impossible for Qin Wenyan to return in such a short period of time. Also, even if he managed to enter the teleportation array in the Jialan Emperor Palace, what about the Liefire Palace's teleportation array? Since so many people saw it at the same time, there was no way this could be faked. They could already eliminate the suspicion of Qin Wenyan. The Liefire Empyrean's heart also relaxed a little. Maybe it wasn't a vendetta. Someone was simply too arrogant and wanted to challenge the Liefire Palace's prestige, hence killing the Jialan monarch. The people of the Jialan clan were also puzzled. Could it be that the culprit really wasn't Qin Wenyan? Their first thought was, could it be that the Liefire Empyrean was protecting Qin Wenyan? But this thought was soon overturned. If it really was Qin Wenyan, given the current relationship between the Liefire Empyrean and Qin Wenyan, the Liefire Empyrean wouldn't hesitate to kill Qin Wenyan. Killing the Jialan monarch not only concerned the Jialan clan, it was also challenging the Liefire Empyrean's bottom line. It's fine if Qin Wenyan isn't here yet. What do the few of you think about this matter? The Liefire Empyrean glanced at the other governors. Naturally, his question was merely an act. He ordered his subordinates to gather the governors because he wanted to see if Qin Wenyan was in the governor's manor or not. Palace Lord, no matter who it is, it's already extremely brazen to dare to kill the monarch of our Liefire Palace. We have to investigate this thoroughly, and after we capture those bandits, we have to execute them in public to shock the world. If not, if other bandits imitate us in the future, where would the prestige of our Liefire Palace be? The new governor, Sun Qian, spoke. Naturally, there was nothing more to say now. Zhuge Xiong, what do you think? The Liefire Empyrean glanced at Zhuge Xiong. Did the bandits leave any clues behind? Zhuge Xiong's eyes gleamed as he looked at the person who came to report. There aren't any clues left behind. We only know the attributes they are good at. Just based on this, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. That person replied. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, there were simply too many experts. It was unknown how many people were proficient in the same law attribute. Unless one coincidentally encountered the other party and saw the combat style of the other party, only then would they be able to recognize the other party. However, such an opportunity was basically impossible. Palace Lord, they committed such a huge crime, robbing so many minds. There's a high possibility that this is the only time they would appear. If they don't appear again in the future, it would be like searching for a needle in a haystack if we want to find them. We have no clues at all. If we want to break through, we can only act from within the group of bandits. Zhuge Xiong reported to the Liefire Empyrean. What should we do exactly? The Life-Fire Empyrean glanced at Zhuge Xiong. Split up. The one who killed the monarch is only the bandit leader. There's no need for us to kill all of them. We can spread the news that as long as it's not the bandit leader, as long as one of them comes forward to surrender, we will give them great rewards and we won't pursue this matter. In this case, it's enough if one of them comes forward to surrender. We can then use this chance to dig out the others. Zhuge Xiong spoke. The Life-Fire Empyrean frowned. Could it be that we won't pursue this matter if they come forward to surrender? And even give them great rewards? Palace Lord, it's just that our Life-Fire Palace won't pursue this matter. Zhuge Xiong had a deep look in his eyes. He even intentionally glanced at the people from the Jialan clan, causing the eyes of everyone to flash. As expected of Zhuge Xiong, he was truly ruthless enough. The Life-Fire Palace wouldn't pursue this matter, but if he wanted someone to die, it was simply too easy. But would they be so foolish as to take the risk? Someone from the Jialan clan asked. Hence, we have to give them great rewards. Also, we have to release news that will make them believe us and move their hearts. Zhuge Xiong spoke. Fine, we will hand this matter over to the Grand Governor. The other governors will cooperate and investigate this matter. As for those who are present today, none of you are allowed to leak out any information. The Life-Fire Empyrean coldly swept his gaze over everyone, causing their hearts to tremble as they nodded. Not long after, everyone dispersed. However, the Life-Fire Palace was still enveloped in a heavy atmosphere. The Jialan clan was the same as well. After they brought the Jialan monarch's corpse back, the entire Jialan clan was filled with a heavy atmosphere. Zhuge Xiong received orders to investigate this matter. He personally headed to Jialan Emperor City and spread the news that the bandit leader of the Heavenly Meteor Mine was extremely brazen. Even killing a monarch was an unpardonable crime. Before the bandit leader was captured, as long as there were other bandits who came to surrender themselves, not only would they not be punished for their crimes, they would even be rewarded with 3 high-grade Emperor-ranked weapons and 3,000 high-grade Emperor stones. They would also be given a courtyard in Life-Fire City protected by the Life-Fire Palace. This news caused a huge commotion. This was the first time they heard of bandits receiving such preferential treatment. This was simply strange. The first thing the crowd thought of was that this was a conspiracy. But even if it was a conspiracy, the Life-Fire Palace could still give such an order. From this, one could see how angry the Life-Fire Empyrean was. They didn't even care about face and wanted to capture the bandit leader no matter what. After all, a monarch was killed. There were also a small number of people who guessed that this might be true. The Life-Fire Empyrean personally gave the order. There shouldn't be any falsehood. Maybe the Life-Fire Empyrean really wanted to find the bandit leader and execute him in public. However, they didn't have any clues and had no choice but to use this method. Qin Wenyan was the target of suspicion. However, he clearly knew that the Life-Fire Palace naturally wouldn't be able to find out anything. In fact, it was very possible that they would never be able to find out anything. Even if those bandits really surrendered themselves because of their foolishness or greed, so what of it? Those bandits simply didn't know who their leader was. Although they had seen the face of the bandit leader, it was a deliberate disguise. It was a disguise that the bandit leader had used to disguise his appearance. In fact, even his aura was fake. How could they possibly find out who he was? As for who the killer of the Jialan monarch was, their suspicions weren't wrong. The killer was none other than Qin Wenyan. When he was in Heavenly City, he received news from Princess Kitamura and learned of Yi Qinyu's encounter in the lifelong Saint Hall. After that, he also saw that Princess Kitamura was also imprisoned there. The flames of hatred from back then instantly ignited in his heart. If it wasn't for the Jialan monarch, everything wouldn't have happened. Yu Huang wouldn't have been trapped so deeply, from the Jialan Emperor City to the Life-Fire Palace, and then to the lifelong Saint Hall. Yi Qinyu wouldn't have been imprisoned in the Life-Fire jail for tens of years and even placed under house arrest in the lifelong Saint Hall, suffering humiliation and being used as a dancer. Based on the relationship between him and Yi Qinyu had only danced for him once, and that was on the cold lake in Jialan Emperor City. No matter what the Jialan clan did, the Jialan monarch was destined to die no matter what. Under a fit of rage, Qin Wenyan gathered some people and directly acted, killing the Jialan monarch in the Skyfall mine, settling this grudge. As for the figure that appeared in the governor's manor, it was naturally to prove that he didn't kill the Jialan monarch. At that time, he was still in the governor's manor. That figure naturally couldn't be Qin Wentian's true self. It was extremely easy for Di Tian to appear in the governor's manor. As long as he changed into a set of white robes and sealed his aura, there would be no difference between him and Qin Wenyan after he took off his mask. His reason for leaving was naturally very simple. It was impossible for him to go to the Li-Fire Palace to confront the Jialan monarch. He could easily hide from his subordinates in the governor's manor. In fact, those people wouldn't even dare to use their immortal senses to probe his aura. But if he went to the Li-Fire Palace, there would be a risk of him being exposed. Hence, he directly said that he had something to do and that if there was nothing major, don't look for him. He believed that as long as the Li-Fire Empyrean knew that he had just left the governor's manor and that there were many witnesses, as well as the words he left behind, the Li-Fire Empyrean wouldn't look for him. Right now, the Li-Fire Empyrean was still very polite to him. Since the Jialan monarch's death had nothing to do with him, was there any meaning in forcefully summoning him to the Li-Fire Palace? This move could be said to be crossing the sea with the heavens. As long as no one knew that Qin Wenyan was Di Tian, no one would ever know that he was the one who killed the Jialan monarch. As long as he didn't kill the Jialan monarch, the Li-Fire Empyrean would continue to be polite to him, maintaining their previous relationship. Hence, Qin Wenyan basically didn't need to care about how the Jialan monarch's death would affect him. Over at Li-Fire City, Di Tian was still keeping an eye on things. Right now, the Emperor Pavilion was a hegemonic power in Li-Fire City that was second only to the Jialan clan. In fact, because they weren't restricted by the Li-Fire Palace, they even had signs of surpassing the Jialan clan. In the blink of an eye, several months had already passed since the Jialan monarch's death. In the Lifelong realm, other than the 9 world palaces, the Lifelong Saint Hall also controlled a vast region. This region had Lifelong City as the center, and was the core of the entire Lifelong realm. This region was under the direct control of the Lifelong Saint Hall. In this region, there were 8 most famous mines in the Lifelong realm. The Taotai mine was one of the 8 mines controlled by the Lifelong Saint Hall. It was a true supreme-grade mine and there would often be terrifying treasures appearing there. The Lifelong Saint Hall would directly guard it. In fact, the 8 mines were connected to the Lifelong Saint Hall through spatial teleportation arrays. For countless years, no one dared to come here to steal from them. If such a situation really happened, it would mean that someone wanted to challenge the Lifelong Realm Lord's position. Also, the miners of these 8 mines were all at least at the Empyrean realm. Also, they weren't slaves or criminals. They were true experts who came here willingly. Because, although these mines were dangerous, they contained boundless good fortune. As long as there was a small harvest, it would be sufficient for an immortal emperor to squander it for many years. Even if they could only obtain 10% of the harvest, this mine would still attract some extremely powerful characters. Over here, there were opportunities to pry into the realm above the immortal emperor realm. At this moment, Qin Wenyan appeared outside the Taodai mine. He stared at the majestic mountain range before him as he walked forward step by step. It was rumored that the Taodai mine was one of the 8 great mines of the Lifelong Saint Hall. All sorts of rare treasures could be found there. In fact, there were even many types of treasures that could surpass emperor-level stones. Hence he came here. For the sake of cultivating faster and coming into contact with the Empyrean realm, he had to take risks. Chapter 1644. Indeed, you are ignorant and inexperienced. Yi Lian laughed, calmly glancing at Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan smiled and nodded in response. He didn't mind it at all. Not long after, they arrived at that place. There was an incomparably resplendent golden mountain range that was incomparably majestic. In the distance, many experts could be seen. They were either standing with their eyes closed or sitting cross-legged. All of them seemed to be in a state of comprehension. I didn't expect to be able to meet Brother Shan here. I still remember during the banquet 2 years ago, Brother Shan represented the Sky Air Palace and obtained the #1 position in the commander battle. After that, you resigned from your position and disappeared without a trace. It's truly my fortune to be able to meet you here. That arrogant leader of the 4 palaces politely clasped his hands and spoke. Clearly, he knew of Shan Lingqiu's name. The group of them respectively walked towards the mine, with Shan Lingqiu in the center. Murong Xiaoxiao unknowingly walked to his side. Is there no one guarding the airspace above this mine? Qin Wentian asked. Taotai Mine. Murong Xiaoxiao mumbled. After that, a smile appeared on her face as she spoke to Shan Lingqiu. Brother Shan, my strength is weaker. This mine is filled with danger. If I follow you, you have to protect me. Yi Qing and Yi Lian glanced at Qin Wenyan. Yi Lian's eyes flashed with disdain. Although he was a peak-stage immortal emperor, an unaffiliated cultivator was still an unaffiliated cultivator. He actually didn't even know this. She then glanced at Shan Lingqiu, feeling that the disparity between them was too great. It's just that this woman Murong Xiaoxiao was truly shameless enough. She actually chose to follow him. The lifelong realm was simply too vast, so vast that it was boundlessly vast. Just Lifelong City alone already had many Empyrean powers. Let alone the boundless lifelong realm, there were many other major powers hidden within. Although world overlords who stood at the peak were extremely rare, there would definitely be many powers on the same level as palace lords. In the middle of the vast mine, there was a huge piece of flat land. This place was the entrance to the mine. At this moment, more and more people came here. Qin Wentian was among them. There were many experts around him, all of them were immortal emperors. They were either alone or in groups of 2 or 3. Occasionally, sounds of discussion could be heard. Seeing that everyone was tempted, the young man smiled and said, "This is the Taotai Mine, one of the 8 great mines. Having one more friend will increase our chances of success. The 4 of you should be disciples of major powers, right?" The people who just arrived all shook their heads. After that, the guard pointed to the front and said, "If you continue forward, you will reach the entrance of the Taotai Mine." I'm sure everyone here understands the rules of the Taotai Mine. You can enter and exit at any time, please do as you please. What was even more relaxed was that the Taotai Mine did not have to hand over all of its ores on a fixed schedule. Instead, they could come out at any time and hand over all of the ores that they had dug out. Afterward, they would be able to obtain 10% of the ores. That's right. With Brother Shan's talent and identity, why did you come to the Taotai Mine? Yi Qing asked. Everyone, please wait a moment. At this moment, a silhouette appeared, causing everyone to stop in their tracks. They turned their heads to look at the person who spoke. It was a young and handsome man. His temperament was extraordinary, and there was a beautiful celestial maiden beside him who bore a striking resemblance to him. Shan Lingqiu calmly nodded. A moment later, the eyes of everyone in the surroundings gleamed with a strange light. Although they were also characters from major powers, their statuses couldn't be compared to Shan Lingqiu, the eldest disciple of the Sky Air Empyrean. Let's go and take a look. Shan Lingqiu's silhouette flashed as he shot out like a bolt of black lightning, speeding towards that direction. The 4 people he spoke to were none other than the group of people Qin Wentian heard earlier. The crowd nodded and continued on their way. Although their cultivation bases were very high, it was unknown how dangerous it was inside. But one thing was for sure, there would definitely be many experts here. The 8 most important mines of the lifelong realm were far more relaxed compared to the other small mines. In addition to the fortuitous encounters hidden within, it attracted experts from all directions to come here unceasingly. This in itself was a kind of strategy. Otherwise, even if there were a lot of fortuitous encounters, if the restrictions were too tight, it would still be very difficult to attract experts to come here to take risks. So much so that some of them came here only for the sake of tempering themselves. Some of them just wanted to broaden their horizons. Are you guys really disciples of the Green Cloud Mountain? The peak stage immortal emperor in the lead asked. But who was the Sky Air Empyrean? The lifelong realm lord. Wait for me. Murong Xiaoxiao spoke. The group of them increased their speed. Yi Lian's beautiful eyes involuntarily glanced at Murong Xiaoxiao, as though she found her to be an eyesore. Brother Shan, for the sake of pursuing that cultivation realm, you can even give up your status as a monarch. How admirable! Murong Xiaoxiao's voice was gentle as she smiled. The group of them continued forward and finally entered the teleportation array. In an instant, they traversed a boundless distance and arrived above a mine. This mine was like an incomparably gigantic constellation, boundless and boundless. They stood in the air and felt incomparably tiny, only able to see a small portion of this mine. I didn't expect that I would be able to get acquainted with a disciple of the Yi clan of the Green Cloud Mountain and a genius from the 4 palaces of the desolate ground here. My name is Murong Xiaoxiao. A solitary fairy smiled. She was radiant and gentle. Her smile was like a crescent moon, exuding a pure beauty. However, given her cultivation base and the fact that she was an unaffiliated cultivator, how could one only look at the surface? I Ching, a disciple of the Green Cloud Mountain. This is my younger sister, Yi Lian. The young man smiled and nodded. Brother Tianwen, you might not know this, but the Taotai mine contains a terrifying Taotai energy that can devour the heavens and earth. In the airspace above the Taotai mine, a fearsome spatial tempest was formed, filled with all sorts of destructive auras. Let alone immortal emperors, even transcendents wouldn't be able to leave this place. They can only leave through the exit. I Ching smiled as he introduced. Fairy Murong. I Ching smiled and nodded to Murong Xiaoxiao. The people from the Desolate Ground Palace also nodded to her. Sky Air Empyrean Palace, Shan Lingqiu. The last person was clad in black. His tone was filled with coldness. Even though this was a disciple of the Yi clan from the Green Cloud Mountain and the geniuses from the Desolate Ground Palace, there was no way for him to be polite to them. The Desolate Ground Palace? I Ching's eyes gleamed with sharpness as he asked. The other party nodded. As expected of one of the 8 great minds of the lifelong realm. Most of the people who came here should be experts from the hegemonic powers. Qin Wendian silently mused. These hegemonic powers were similar to the Sword Spirit sect and Jialan clan, having palace lords. Qin Wendian followed behind. His countenance was incomparably calm, his heart like still water. He didn't expect that he would be able to casually encounter the Sky Air Palace Lord in the Taotai Mine, a grand disciple of the lifelong realm. This place was truly a place with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Disciples of the Yi clan. The eyes of the peak stage immortal emperor in the lead flashed. After that, he nodded lightly. Since this is the case, let's form an alliance then. We are from the Desolate Ground Palace. Everyone, if you want to enter the mine, you have to allow us to inspect all your interspatial rings with our immortal sense. If there are any inconvenient items, you all can leave them behind after you return. At the registration area of the Taotai mine, a guard reminded. Everyone naturally understood this point. Every mine had such a rule. If they didn't check the interspatial rings on you, how would they know if you are hiding something? Hence, if you have any treasures or secret items, you wouldn't bring them with you. A powerful female immortal emperor, right now, was like a little girl, extremely gentle. Shan Lingqiu glanced at her and nodded. You can leave now. Shan Lingqiu, are you the eldest disciple of the Sky Air Palace Lord? Grand disciple of the Realm Lord? I Ching's eyes flashed with sharpness as he stared at Shan Lingqiu. This is spatial energy, but it doesn't seem to be pure spatial energy. Qin Wendian stared ahead at the majestic golden mountain that resembled a translucent ancient peak. Within it there were some scattered silhouettes. All of them had deathly expressions on their faces and were as thin as firewood. It was as though they had been trapped inside for countless years. Senior brother, given your talent and cultivation base, you might really have a chance to break through to the immortal emperor realm, transcending mortality and entering sainthood. At this moment, a voice drifted over from the side. It was actually a group of immortal emperor-level martial brothers. The weakest among them was at the mid-stage of the immortal emperor realm, while the strongest among them exuded a terrifying aura. Clearly, they were already standing at the peak of the immortal Emperor realm and were here to search for good fortune to break through. Us siblings are disciples of the Green Cloud Mountain. I'm sure everyone knows the dangers of entering the Taodai mine. Not only is there a threat from the Taodai mine itself, there's also the threat from the various experts inside. Even if we manage to find the mine, we might not be able to snatch it away from them. Hence, every batch of people who entered the mine would form an alliance. There are 9 of us, why don't we form an alliance? The young man slowly spoke. What he said was the truth. Many batches of people who entered the mine would form an alliance. What a powerful spatial law energy. Qin Wendian mused in a low voice. What's that? At this moment, Murong Xiaoxiao turned her gaze towards the distance. Over there seemed to be a golden ancient mountain towering over there. Incomparably resplendent light cascaded down from the sky, cascading down on them, giving the ancient mountain a layer of holy light. The group of people continued on their way. Occasionally, Emperor Light would appear below, but they would only casually glance at it before continuing on their way. Ordinary Emperor stones couldn't even enter their eyes. The Taodai mine could be entered at any time. As long as one's cultivation base met the requirements of the immortal Emperor realm, they would be able to enter and mine. It's me who is ignorant and inexperienced. Thank you for your guidance. Qin Wendian thanked I Ching. Before that cultivation base, what's the point of having the identity of a monarch or governor? Shan Lingqiu spoke in a low voice. Let's go. Unaffiliated cultivator, Tianwen. Qin Wendian smiled and nodded, not revealing his true identity. Everyone calmly glanced at Qin Wendian. Their attitude towards Qin Wendian was no longer as friendly as Murong Xiaoxiao. Beauties would always have an advantage. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.